Okay, thank you. I'll file this one somewhere. I need one more piece of paper.
No, wait a minute, Mayor, please. Can I have 1 minute to organize?
Copies of this contact me or the
Thank you, Mayor, I'm ready.
Lawrenceburg Park Playground Committee order. Roll call, please.
Member Jane Pope.
Present.
Member Ellen Carter. Member Bill Werner. Member Mike Lawrence.
Here.
Member Jan Holcraft.
Here.
Attorney Leslie Botal.
Here.
Utility Director Mel Davis.
Here.
President and Mayor Dennis Carr.
Here.
And myself.
Announcements. Mayor, please notice the previous meeting. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Committee reports. Mayor, now move on to new business. Mel Grimmer, Dukes of Hazzard, August 19, 2014.
Mayor, I'm sorry. Oh, never mind, you're good. You're good.
All set?
Sorry, Mel.
That's okay, Jane. Thank you all for your time. First of all, my name is Mel Kramer. I'm Night Out Transportation, the taxi service here in Lawrenceburg. This is Kelly Meyer. Kuchenreiter, sorry. She's going to be heading up the event that we're wanting to have over at Lawrenceburg Fairgrounds on August 9th. I'll just basically turn it over to her.
Yes, my name is Kelly Kuchenreiter, and I'm here on behalf of Melvin as the co-chairman. And we're doing this because with him being the owner of Night Out, and then the Dukes of Hazzard benefit we want to do, we're going to have 4 of the major characters here. It's going to be the girl that played Daisy Duke, Roscoe the sheriff, Enos, and Cletus. Cooter, we tried to get him, but he wasn't available on this day, and we talked to the other 2, and they're just, right now, they're out of a ballpark being a first-year thing to do this. But we've gotten really good response of people that are interested in this area. They already have Twitter accounts and everything. They've got followers. So right now, we're asking you to give us permission to use the fairgrounds at Agner Hall on Saturday, August 9th. We have talked to Kim. She said that date was open and everything, and she gave us pretty much a go and told us to come here and talk to you folks.
Talk about Agner Hall.
Agner Hall, I've got it penciled in. I've just got to,
Okay.
I got to stop in tomorrow and
No, that's fine.
give you
I just, because
it's penciled in.
Kim can tell you about the fairgrounds and the track.
Yeah.
She wouldn't know about Agner Hall. That's all. That's the only reason I asked.
Yeah, I've called twice and
Okay.
had to
No
postpone.
problem.
Yeah,
Just double checking.
no problem.
Yeah, so we've already got, we went with the preliminary, we talked to people to make sure things were available. We have talked to the 4 characters I mentioned, and they are available. All they need is a deposit so that we can confirm that they'll be here and everything. So we've talked to Paul's, we've talked to different people about sponsoring things. We'll be getting donations because this isn't a small little thing we're putting on. You're talking about it costing $35,000, $40,000 just to get people here to have everything done. But in the past, they've had 75,000 to, people, showing up. They've had a lot of people doing this. And since the Dukes of Hazzard's coming back, a lot of kids are watching the show and stuff. It's something good. We want to have a look-alike, the generally look-alike contest, the Daisy Duke look-alike contest, and Flash. And so we've got a lot of good positive things going, but we wanted to make sure we had permission and could get the hall and the fairgrounds first before we did anything else.
Any board?
Free. How much you charging to come in and see the show?
Well, the man that plays Sonny, he's actually going to come in on Friday night, and he's going to be at the Lawrenceburg High School Auditorium.
That's Roscoe, sorry.
I'm sorry, Roscoe. Roscoe will be here. He does a 2-hour one-man show. That ticket would be $20 per person. And then it's like $10 to $15 to come into the fairgrounds, and they'll do autographs and different things like that, and then we'll put bands on them, and they've all paid to get in. We're going to have a disc jockey, music, the car show, it'll get them into everything else, the sign, the meet and greets, and everything else. I guess you want to add that it's available. We do have insurance, that's why Night Owl's being one of the sponsors themselves. So the benefit we're doing is actually for Charge syndrome, and but Melvin, with him having the business night out, we are using their insurance. We've already got the rider on there. It's like $350 a day for us to have the insurance. We've already checked it out. We've already told them to put it on as a separate little policy. So yeah, we've checked into that too.
Did you get Jackie a copy of the insurance?
I don't have one with me right now, but
You can.
Oh, yeah, we will.
yes, we will definitely do that.
Yeah, ain't no problem.
Board pleasure.
I make a motion that we allow them to use fairgrounds, Agner Hall, and whatever else they requested, parking lot, to the gates of the Speedway, the covered area of vendors, Agner Hall, and restrooms, use the city garage, and overflow parking lots for Hollywood. Do we have to, can we allow them to use Hollywood overflow?
Get that Hollywood.
That house, Hollywood, okay.
We can do that.
That's no problem.
We'll have to note that, and I make a motion that we give them permission to use what they need at the Dearborn County Fairgrounds
That is with verification of liability insurance.
with verification of liability insurance and the date available.
Yep.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Jamie Chase, Lions Club.
First of all, on behalf of Lions Club, Lawrenceburg Lions Youth Baseball, I just want to tell you guys thank you for all that you guys have done in the past. Everything with the ball fields and everything are beautiful. We've made some changes this past season. We've got out of Little League International. We're no longer associated with them. And the reason I'm here today is to ask you guys if you guys will be able to make some renovations to the Denny Lewis Field to help our 12U program compete and contend with the rest of the area programs. We're stuck at a 4660 base path pitching mound system is what we're at now, and that's what Little League wanted us to be at, and that's what you guys built the field for. But all the area teams that we play now have gone to this 50-70, which is a 50-70 baseball pitching mound and 70-foot base paths. I've spoke with Mike Clark and Mario about this, and Mike's got me some estimates on the cost of renovating it. We're looking at between $5,000 and $7,000 to do these renovations, depending on who does the work. And all it really is putting in an extension of base paths to where we can use the field for both age groups, both dimensions. The 4660 for the younger kids and the 50-70 for the 12U.
We got two pitching mounts.
We'll have one pitching mound. I believe he priced it. The price he got me was for a movable pitching mound, temporary mound, that will be set at whatever we need it, whether it be 46 feet or the 50 foot. And then the base path will have the removable bases that go in each different set of pegs. It's similar to what Greendale's already set up with over at Oakey. Dillsboro's got it. Manchester has it. Hidden Valley had it, but they've done away with their field, and they're not having a league this year. But basically, what I need is your guys' permission and your guys' okay to tell them to do the work.
So you're going to, Lions Club's going to do the work?
No, but we're asking for the city to do the work. Yeah.
Don't they have a non-recurring fund or park non-recurring?
There's some in it that usually takes care of the paint, the brick dust, just usual maintenance. I'm not sure what's
There's not a lot. Is it, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't usual maintenance for the parks already in the parks budget? We wouldn't have to fall back to a non-reverting fund for
that we could.
dust?
Still not there?
Yeah, 498's our River Parks, or excuse me, 488's our River Park budget.
I've got a couple concerns and questions.
Okay.
Why have you chosen to disassociate yourself with Little League program?
Basically, it falls down to insurance is the main concern. Last year, we decided we're going to play other area teams with Dillsboro, Manchester, Milan, things like that. Little League won't allow us to do that. They want us to stick to strictly Little League programs. We were the only Little League program, us and Aurora. So they were telling us, you could play Aurora, you could go to Aurora and play, or they can come to your field and play, but you can't do anything with anybody else according to our insurance policies. Now, if you pay our insurance policy, pay our charter fees, and go get your own insurance to play these other teams, then you can do that. Well, we looked into that, and it's not cost effective. It's cheaper for us to buy our own insurance to do what we'd like to do with playing these other teams, these other towns and other communities, and it's not feasible. You know, they're wanting more money than what they're providing. The biggest positive side of being involved with Little League is their insurance and the cheapest insurance you can get.
Will all the children still play for free?
Oh yeah, it's still free. Everything, nothing's changed other than the fact that we're not with Little League.
I believe it's the only Lions club in the United States that got free baseball.
It is. It is the only Lions club that offers a program like this in the United States.
How far will you travel then?
Right now, we're set up to run to Rising Sun for sure. I've been talking to people in Milan. We're looking at playing in Milan. We've got Dillsboro, we've got Aurora, Manchester, Rising Sun. Milan said they're interested. We're still talking to some in Dearborn about getting involved with them. So, I mean, it's pretty much the kids that they'll be playing throughout their school years. You know, they'll be playing all these other schools, and they're already set up. All these other fields are already set up at the 50-70 program. We're just trying to get in line with everybody else.
Is that what the Babe Ruth field would have been?
Babe Ruth field is 60-90. And that's another reason, it's a step up for these kids that are 11, 12 years old to get prepared to go on to the Babe Ruth program. It helps them on that step, but...
Without the Little League charter, are you still permitted to use the minor league and major league names for the kids' teams?
Yeah, that's not, Our kids, the teams' names were based off of Major League Baseball names, so that's not a problem.
Anything else on board? How many games do they be played?
Between all four divisions, majors and minors, we're looking at trying to do a total of 16 games for the season on each level, so that'd probably be at least 10 home games per team, just in majors and minors, and that'd be pretty much what's on the Denny Lewis field. So last year we had majors teams, we had 4 teams, so that'd be say 40 games. Minors we had 6 teams, so we're looking at maybe about 100 games, somewhere in that ballpark. And then plus we're doing the All-Star program. And we're wanting to get it started early this year. Wanting to get it started in May and do some tournaments every other weekend with the areas, the teams that we play, the leagues that we play. So they'll throw a few more games in there on top of that.
And all this can happen this year for teams, right?
Yes. That as far as the work, I don't know. I believe, I don't see where it's that much total work. It's just, I think the majority of the cost was probably the pitching mound.
Mike?
There's a little more involved than that, but weather permitting, we've had some springs where there's 3 inches of water down there until 1st of June. Now, if we have a spring like that, then...
If we have a spring like that, we're not playing down there anyway, so...
Yeah, if we have normal weather, I think we can do that for them.
What's the board's pleasure?
Make a motion to make modifications to the fields.
second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All against? Ayes have it. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, guys.
Tell Lions Club, keep good work up.
Thank you, I will.
Old business. Hearing none, review and discuss claims board approval. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Board works 5 minutes. Or we get seated.
That's not getting approved.
Yeah, they count.
And I know that. I'm just, okay. I already did this. Okay? I said, did you get these? This is done. Yeah, I just put that on this. I already got one of because I don't oh no, that is, yeah, that, it's done. They send me.
I'm sure he would appreciate that. I'll tell you what, tell me who our kids
Where's Jerry? Oh, he's out there. I lost you.
Falls Park meeting order. Roll call, please.
Member Donnie Bryan is absent. Member Aaron Cook. Here. Member Bill Bruner. Member Mario Todd. Here. Mayor Dennis Carr. Assistant Police Chief Mike Lanning. Here. Assistant Fire Chief Pat Myers.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
Attorney Leslie Votaw.
Here.
Utility Director Mel Davis.
Here.
Mayor Dennis Carr. And myself.
Any announcement?
There's just one thing, I did do a conflict of interest form for Mr. Mr. Todd for this board. I believe Mr. Bruner's and Mr. Cooks also have the Board of Works listed on there, so just wanted to bring it up in the meeting. It's something you guys have to do year by year, especially with your individual jobs with the city. Some of them jobs with the city, some of them just other things, but just wanted to bring that on our announcement.
Any more announcements? Any approved minutes of previous meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Committee reports. New business, Mario Todd, estimate for access control system.
Thank you, Your Honor. In the packet, you'll see from Larry's Lock's proposal to upgrade our control systems for the doorways. This is not the monitoring system, but just the access control, which includes the software and license fees. This allowed the key fobs to be actually programmed right here at this location.
This is special, isn't it?
Correct. Larry's Locks has provided some of the installation already for some of the other access, so they're kind of the sole source for the system.
So will we be able to do it in-house?
In-house here. And our plan is to build each location, such as police department, city garage, converting system, just bring it up to date. That number's the 12,450 is not to exceed number. And that is budgeted in 498.
Anything else, board?
And that's just for this building, right, Mario?
Correct.
Make a motion to move forward.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against?
That's all I had, Your Honor.
Old business, Leslie Votal, grand use contract.
You have a copy of the proposed contract with Mr. Hughes. It was in your packets actually since the 6th, the meeting on the 6th. I guess if anybody has any questions about it.
There were some changes, or it was tabled at
My understanding is that during the council meeting, I believe in December, I'm not sure which one, I think there was a motion made that as long as Mr. Hughes signed this, his appropriation, the appropriated amount would be adjusted to what it should be. The salary amount is as 4A states in the contract, and that is the adjusted amount within with this for the last 3 years.
So the council has approved the appropriations for the set amount?
That's correct, and I believe that's on the agenda.
No, it isn't.
It isn't?
No, because unless, I checked with the state, because the only way to continue it is if someone came here physically on one of the meetings in July, or January, and continued it, the meeting, then you'd have to say you were going to continue the additional. If we didn't do that, and I sent it to the paper, it will now go on the February the 18th meeting.
Okay.
That's the best I can
For
do.
the additional appropriation.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Jane Pope, Lawrenceburg City Council. I talked to Jackie today about the salary, his annual salary. What is the annual salary in that contract? Or is it in the contract?
Should be, is it say 80,000 or say more than that?
How much?
$85,200.
All right, since then there has been a correction. Jackie, will you make note of that and let him know?
Yeah, okay, where did we come up with the 85?
We appropriated $82,500.
I
$82,500.
believe the appropriation was for 80. I believe you knocked it down to 80 because that would have been what he would have started out at December. I'm almost positive that's what it was, because that's what I read.
It's remained 80 because there was no contract in the budget. I believe it's 80, isn't it?
Okay, but originally, we were only looking at a $2,500 raise.
which would have been for year one of his contract. And then with this, when you take it times,
Year one of his contract was $80,000.
correct, year one would have been 80, 82,560 would have been year two, and 85,202 would be year three. That's how we come up with it.
So he stayed at 80 for 2 years in a row because he didn't sign the contract?
No, I believe the 82,560 was appropriated in 2012,
Then why was it 80 on our budget?
because I think that's what, when we had the budget meeting, when we were passing the budget, that's what you all...
It actually showed 82.5 for the budget. I didn't bring my budget papers, I wished I would have, but we discussed
They
it.
might have put that in there, but I'm almost...
But see, I didn't think, and when you and I talked today, I didn't think that the 85 whatever would have been 2 years of a raise. I was just doing 1 year. I just didn't go there.
I think Mike had a question or statement.
Because I thought when the budget was vetoed, the salary went back to 80, which was last year,
That was in,
12.
which would have been for spending last year, for 13 spending. Could you tell me in
13 we went back to 12.
Could you tell me in the appropriation report that's in the packet, how much he received in pay?
Doesn't it say on there?
Mine's up there.
Well, come get it, look here. I'm gonna go get my budget book, because I didn't bring it either. I'll be right back.
Okay, I believe it went back to $80,000 for his salary when the mayor vetoed the budget, but he was paid $84,088.45. I'd like to get an explanation for that.
What page are you looking at?
Page 21.
While we're waiting for Jackie, can we ask Grant what he thought this contract dollar amount was negotiated or discussed was going to be?
It should be the 85, which would have been 3% on top of the 82,560.
But actually, it doesn't matter, because the mayor vetoed the budget. So there was an overpayment, I think, of $4,088.45. And if that's the case, I'm going to ask for it to be paid back. And in the first place, I'm asking why it was paid.
But you come back.
Okay.
I do know that the 82,560 is what was in the salary ordinance.
Correct.
For 13?
For 14.
For 14.
For 14.
For 13, 82,560 was in the salary.
And it stayed that way for 14 too. 82.5.
I think so, because at that point, we still had, the motion.
According to this-
Until this is signed.
According to this, it shows 82,560 on the appropriation report. I thought it was 80,000, but even if it was 82,560, he was overpaid.
What's the amount on the report, Mike?
What he was paid, $84,088.45.
Okay, in the budget book, it was published at 82,560, and it was adopted at 80,000 until he signed a contract.
And that was for 214, correct?
For 2014, yes.
So in 2013, he should have received $80,000 in 2013.
I don't have that one, but okay.
and he was paid $84,088.45.
My
Is that right?
The 82,560 was in the salary ordinance in 2013, because that's what I based the new number off of, when we looked at it for 14. 82,560 is the salary ordinance from 2013.
So why didn't you give him a raise of 214?
I did, I mean, that's what this 85,202 is.
Okay, if it was in the salary ordinance at $82,560, he was still overpaid.
Yes,
So-
I mean, I'm not disputing that as far as what this appropriation report says. I'm just saying as far as the salary ordinance, it was 82,560 was what was put under, was approved.
My big question is, when are eyes going to start looking at this and the overspending stop? So I'm looking at this appropriation report, and there's a lot of negative line items. Lots of them.
Contract.
Okay, well, does this board or council need to vote for that money to be paid back? Okay, thank you.
Grant? So in 12, what was your number in 12?
80,
Okay. In 13?
82, 560.
What you received? Or
That's, yeah. My understanding is overseas.
So I guess we have to lean on Jackie to do the total, the 84. You want to verify that, reconcile that back, correct?
Yeah, I'll have to go in tomorrow and ask, because I don't know where the, well, if the numbers were approved in the budget, that would be why they paid it. I guess, I'll have to ask, I don't know.
Excuse me. The budget got vetoed, he stayed at 80. He should have never been brought up to 82.5 to begin with. And in your budget for 214, his pay states 82.5. That's the budget we passed. We held it to 80 till he signed the contract. So there should, whatever was in the salary ordinance must have not matched the budget. Which if I went over that budget, I would have made sure, and I will double check myself, that it was 82.5 in the salary ordinance. So this contract needs to be tabled until everything is looked at and nothing against you, Grant.
82,560 is here, they knocked it back to 80.
The current
That's 14s.
past,
I don't have the other ones.
For 14. So that's where he should stay at. Correct. And I don't want to state this, but I feel sneaking something else in on us. Unless we really look at those numbers, which we do many hours every week to make sure everything's correct.
No.
so if you want to, which is enabled until appropriation.
you said you got it advertised for next.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it has to happen. I mean, I can go tomorrow and pull it.
Get it figured out.
Yeah, I can pull the advertisement though, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, if it came down to it, and it was something that could be continued at that point or table.
Yeah.
That's what we told you, right?
Yeah.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to table until the clerk treasurer is able to reconcile the numbers back
Second.
to verify what the 14 budget should
All
be.
against? Ayes have it.
I just want to state one more thing to the board, just so it's on record. If you go through the appropriation report, by what they're showing for their salary, what it should be, and what they was paid, there's several. So, needs to be looked at.
We discuss claims board approval. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion adjourned. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. To the board in 5 minutes.
I know. Yes, it does. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I did also do that on the board once again, copies that Dex has to sign.
You need mine back?
Yes.
That's okay.
Charles Utility Board meeting forward, roll call please.
Member Jane Poe.
Present.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Bill Bruner. Here. Member Mike Lawrence.
Here.
Member J.R. Holcraft.
Here.
Attorney Leslie Botoff. Utility Director Mel Davis.
Here.
President Mayor Carr.
Here.
And myself.
Any announcements?
Yes, sir, I have one, Your Honor. I have a letter to read dated November 13th, 2013. It's to the Honorable Mayor Dennis Carr. Dear Mayor Carr, as we discussed earlier today, I'm announcing my retirement as Utility Director of Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities effective Friday, August 29th, 2014. I have enjoyed working with you as Mayor, Councilman, and Board of Works member over the past years. By working together, we've been able to accomplish a lot for the customer owners of our utility systems. I wish you good luck in the future. Sincerely.
Mel, we're gonna miss you. You've done a lot for the city through the years. It'll be hard to replace.
I have it now. I can't remember the date now, but I received a call before our first meeting that Greendale had had a power outage, and a city official would call me from over there and said that Lawrenceburg crew went over there and helped them out, and what a great job they done. I want to pass that along and let everybody know that they done a great job.
Thanks, Mel, you and your team.
Now you're gonna stick around Lawrenceburg, aren't you?
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna miss you.
I'll be one of the people that come down and complain about my utility bill.
Approve minutes of previous meeting. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Committee reports.
Your Honor, I have another thing I'd like to read as far as committee reports go. This is a water fluoridation quality award for Lawrenceburg, state of Indiana. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention commends this water system for its consistent and professional adjustment of the water fluoride content to the optimum level for oral health for 12 consecutive months. Consistent, high-quality water fluoridation practice is demonstrated by this water system. It's a safe, effective method to prevent tooth decay, improving the oral health of community residents for all ages. Presented by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, United States Department of Health and Human Resources, signed by, I'm not sure who signed it, I can't read it. It's writing.
A doctor.
Yeah, probably. National Fluoridation Engineer, Division of Oral Health, National Center for Chronic Disease Prevention and Health Promotion. This is a prestigious award. This is a few times in a row that Lawrenceburg has received this, so I'd like to present this to Mr. Lyons. Projects, Mayor and Utility Board have been slowed to a halt right now because of the weather, but I'm sure as soon as the weather breaks, they'll be back at it and trying to complete the projects. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mel. New business. Hearing none, good old business. Hearing none, review, discuss, claims, board approval.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it
Member Jane Pope.
Present.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Bill Bruner.
Here.
Member Mike Lawrence.
Here.
Member Jared Holcraft.
I'm here.
Assistant Police Chief Mike Lanning.
Here.
Assistant Fire Chief, I had to make sure he was still here. Pat Meyer.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
Attorney Leslie Votaw.
Here.
Utility Director Mel Davis.
Here.
Mayor Dennis Carr.
Here.
And myself.
Any announcements?
I have one. I just wanted to let everybody know, I don't know if anybody else had, but received a lot of phone calls from citizens complaining about the conditions of our streets during the bad weather.
What happened on that, the weather got down on, got too cold for salt to work, and the drifts went across the street. And when salt did work, melted it down and froze over the night. They fought it all night long, they had a little tough time with it. That's probably the only time you've probably seen that in the last few years here. They do a heck of a job.
Usually they're good.
They do a real good job. But salt won't work under 17 degrees.
I want to make a comment on the salt not working under 17 degrees. Because when salt was finally applied after the kids missed school on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, when it was applied on Thursday night, they went to school the next morning with -3-degree temperature and the salt worked. I was told salt was not laid. It was just plowed and sanded up until Thursday night.
Salt will not work under 17 degrees.
It worked on US 50, it worked on 275, it worked on Hebron roads.
They may cut it down, that's different places. They fought it all night long, the drifts come across and got them. They fought this thing all night long. I mean, you check all the times they did these roads.
I know.
They've done a wonderful job. One time
Yes.
things mess up, I mean, you want to criticize them for that?
Well, because they didn't use salt. They should have at least tried to use salt.
They gotta get snow off first before they put snow down.
I understand that. But Greendale was even, their roads were even good.
Should have done.
I was out of Greenville a couple times and those weren't great.
Yeah. I was saying the main strip bridge and Allen were good, but the side streets were awful.
You just don't get.
I'm just telling you what I heard from the citizens. And I think if we would apply salt, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night, we could have got the kids to school. We did apply salt on Thursday night. It's a 2-hour delay, -3-degree temperature, salt work, they went to school. So it just may need to be re-looked at and readdressed and maybe done the way we've done it in the past.
Yeah, they just got tough. Moving on. Yes, I have some announcements too. We got a loan committee Tuesday night at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
4?
4 o'clock.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Board Works meeting 5 o'clock on the 29th, work session till Wednesday. 4 o'clock.
5 o'clock on
5 o'clock.
Wednesday.
It's 5.
Yes. And drug cost 415 on January 30th, be Thursday.
Yeah, that's
So
a
we're gonna have
4:15.
employees up too.
That's council,
Yeah, it's council.
4:15.
Okay. Committees and boards I've got, they'll stay as is till maybe further notice. There possibly might be a change on Board of Works.
I got one more announcement too,
Go
Mayor.
ahead.
I attended the Martin Luther King services on Monday. Excellent service. Myself and Police Chief Jane Hunnefeld was there to represent the city. I was saddened to see that more participation wasn't from our city council and our city administrators. And I'd like to remind everybody, that is very important. As a matter of fact, it was their 25th anniversary celebration, and they're going to continue with it. It's going to be ran under a new board, and hopefully we'll have a better attendance next year.
Well, I couldn't make it that, I just told them I couldn't make it 5 o'clock, and they understood.
I just also like to say, when it's cold, snowy, icy, my busiest time, I'm working day and night.
That was a vacation.
Somebody got to go on.
That's a good service. But anyway, if you've got the local paper, I can't remember if it was Tuesdays or Thursdays, Reverend Rock's, Pastor Rock's, his whole speech is in the newspaper. So if you get a chance, read that.
So like vacation's no excuse.
Huh?
So no vacation's no excuse.
It was Jamaica at 92 degrees.
Oh,
Approve the minutes previous meeting. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
I got some on the minutes. Let's go to Common Council, December 16th. Under Administrative, said Jane Pope asked the annual premium of the city workers' compensation. Jackie told her around $200,000 a year. Jackie said $500,000 a year.
Okay.
Yes. On page 6, I've just got a question. We're down at 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph. Leslie said council passed in their budget for $4 million to go to the school, and she talked to Mario about how we want this to be distributed. No offense against you, Mario.
None taken.
But why should Mario decide how this money should be distributed instead of this legislation body?
Well, there's actually a memorandum of understanding that is, that I need to get to you guys. It can be discussed in more depth tomorrow, because that's really what, the revolving loan fund is meeting tomorrow. But what I meant by that, Jane, was, as far as them having to put in a claim for, work.
Draws.
I mean, yeah, draws. It would be like a construction type loan type thing. That's how, we have done with Aurora, with their sewer project. And I think what the school is asking is actually an escrow agent, be decided upon between the parties, and they would use the same process, but it would just be an escrow agent that they would go through. I do have copies of this letter. I told them that because I just received this today at 3 o'clock, that it most likely would not be voted on, but I did want to give a copy of that to you all. This is an appropriate time then, so.
Okay, that takes care of that one. Now we'll move to December 30th minutes. Very last page, City Council. Paragraph 1, 2, 3. Jane Pope had questions about the Dearborn County grant for redevelopment. Jane asked if council could expect the project to get up and running with, Jackie's got it stated, the $400,000 and the $200,000. I actually said, could the project get up to running with the $270,000 that the city put through? And nothing was mentioned about $400,000 or $230,000. But he did say he would have to go back to council for more money. And if I remember correctly, that's what we passed, was the $270,000, not the $230,000. I think the $230,000 is the difference between them, which would equal out to $400,000.
Any more?
No, thank you.
Committee reports.
Did we get a motion on that?
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with the corrections as stated.
Second? Second. All in favor? Against?
Okay.
Now, committee reports. Reach out on the curb down at Crook.
Just one thing there, I want to mention there's a water lead missing. I'd actually crossed Leslie's office on High Street. I don't know the number, but I think it's right in front of that parking lot.
Yeah, you mentioned that today, they're supposed to take care of that. Did you call about that? They were supposed to call you about that. Check on it. It's one of the little meter bases.
Yeah, there's like 3 of them right there, one of them's missing.
In the sidewalk.
It's out in the street a little bit. Not in the street, but.
Valve box. Any more?
Nope, that's it.
Finance, you all hold that.
I'd like to comment on the finances, if I could, please.
Comment.
Grant, thank you for the water. And on page 2 of the accounts payable register, I discussed with Mr. Grant today the Purdue University Southeast 10 County grant payment of $50,000. I would like him to explain that to the board and the citizens, why that is, and what we look to do in the future.
Well, it's for the vetting that's done on the 10 county by a small business group, which is Small Business Development Center here in Lawrenceburg. As a small business works in conjunction with Purdue, that's why you see Purdue on there. And then they're also a department of the Lieutenant Governor's office. We contracted with them to provide the vetting for the applications that were coming in, to go through the financials and give a report to the board before the board voted. In the future, we're hoping that vetting will still be done by a small business, but that the sponsoring agency will pay for that vetting in the future.
And this was implemented in mid or late 2012 after we revised?
I think we got started probably in May of 2012. We got hit with 50 applications and we were vetting those applications at that time.
And I just wanted to make note that that was done because we redid the 10 county grant ordinance. And I'd like to thank Grant for reaching out and having somebody vet that before it came before us. And I wanted to thank him for that.
And it was the board. It was discussions with the board and the board recommended.
Okay. All right. And then the 10 county grant board discussions. All right. And then I talked to Jackie on the phone today, and Jackie brought in a certified public accountant, Stephanie M. Bauer, and I would like for her to explain why she brought her in so council could be informed and the citizens can be informed on what her job duties are.
I don't have the paperwork that says exactly what her job duties are. I brought her in because UMBA said with penalties and some other things going on, we needed somebody that could do that work, and UMBA can't do it. She's going to make sure the taxes are filed on time and correctly. She's going to make sure the W-2s are done in a timely manner, which is something that wasn't being done. And she's going to work with the IRS on some of our penalties that we've got, because UMBA doesn't do that either. So, and it was UMBA who suggested that I, see about getting, and they helped me with the letter and what all we wanted them to do. But like I said, I don't have that description right here with me.
I think you explained it.
Okay.
W-2s and the W-3s because of what happened in 2-9.
You need to put this stuff on the agenda for next meeting.
No, this is the financial. I can question any of these financial reports when we're on the financial.
But you were asking some other things too that she needs to get prepared for.
Well, I talked to her today.
I did prepare.
Okay.
I said, I don't want to hit you with this at the meeting tonight. But this falls under financial report.
Get to the point.
The point is that I'm grateful she brought in a CPA to begin with, because we need somebody to make sure that this is done correctly. And she not only told me that she's not only looking at the W-2s and the W-3s, but they're going through payroll and making sure everything is done correctly. So I want to compliment her for doing that. The thing is, If we hadn't did our due diligence as legislative body, none of this would have been brought out to the public, period, that 2/9, 2/10, 2/11, and 2/12 Social Security W-3s were not reported. So, and I'd also like to explain this too, after I bring it out. Our penalties can be anywhere from $450,000 to $500,000. And Jackie, please explain who you've got working on that to hopefully get those penalties dropped or brought down.
That's another thing that the CPA is working on. She's working with the IRS. I talked to a gentleman Friday from the IRS in Columbus, who's I've been working with also, and he said he's still working on some of those, but he doesn't see that there'll be a big problem getting the major ones abated, because I had to write a letter and explain what all happened and everything, so he says he thinks that will take care of that. There may be some small ones that we'll be liable for.
Thank you.
Is that just federal penalties or?
IRS penalties.
Is there state penalties too?
Yeah, I don't know what all the, I just take the letters as they come, like, and see what it says, you know. I don't know that I have all the letters yet.
And under financial report, I not only think that the financial chairperson should be able to give a report, I think Jackie should report and tell us what she's doing and why she's doing it. Or I can keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll be more than happy to do it.
Okay, got any more, Dan? We're moving on.
I had a
Go ahead.
which one I had circled, the Purdue thing. I was just curious why that didn't come before the council to vote to do that.
It's an expense.
It's
not a grant, it was an expense.
And that was in the ordinance about expense can be taken out of the grant money, or?
My understanding, yes.
I can't remember. And then a question, I know we always have the Lawrenceburg municipal utilities various, like there's a couple different ones in here, one $67,094.55 and one something else.
Well, those are utilities we pay.
For
The city.
just the city?
Yeah.
Because I got a phone call about utilities for the motorcycle and go-kart track. That
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
somebody telling me that the city is paying.
No.
They're not.
To the best of my knowledge, the utilities for the track, I don't know about the motorcycle, I'll take that back.
It's a motorcycle
Oh,
track,
okay.
is what I was.
Well, I know we don't own it.
No.
Conservancy owns it. I mean, they are looking at transferring that parcel to us. Because there was an
Okay.
outbuilding over there that was recently built, where Mario took it. But no, until probably 2000, I don't even know, 7 or 8, we were leasing it and didn't own it. to her.
I know there hasn't been a lease, I think, since 2006 or 7.
Right.
I got a copy of it, and then somebody told me that the city was paying the utilities, so
No,
did you find that out?
Do anything about
The
that?
city's not paying utilities. All you need to do is come down and ask.
Motorcycle track? Okay, I
They paid
didn't,
for the temporary building that was paid utilities on that.
That's our building.
That's
That's the only thing I know.
because I was gonna say, I know on the racetrack that utilities were all put into Mr. Rudisel's name that needed to be.
Yeah, this was just. about
Okay,
the go-kart
that's
track.
fine.
Any more, Mike?
I believe, I think that was the last. Yep, that's it.
Moving on to fire department, Bill Brown.
No report, ma'am.
Police department, Mike Lanning.
No report, ma'am.
Fire department, assistant chief.
The only thing I got was what was in your all's packet with the end of the year incident responses for our year, summary of what we had for last year. Also on the front page of that was a some asset protection items that we started working on. And also, for this week, starting tomorrow, we'll have one of our lieutenants, Lieutenant Ratliff. He will be attending a certified live burn training at the, I want to say LaPorte, Indiana Fire Department. It's at LaPorte. And he'll be a certified live burn instructor, and that'll go hand in hand with our burn facility over to Ivy Tech.
You don't want to share anyone? Anyone?
Should be it.
On the fire department, just so council's aware, there is some amendments to the salary ordinance that will be coming your way next time. Johnny's been getting on me about getting that in front of you, and that will be in your packets for next meeting. And it was what he had already come to us and talked about as far as the breakdown on part-time, full-time. Part-time. Yeah. So we're trying to work on that, get that, so it'll be in front of you for the next meeting.
Anyone else talking else?
No, Mayor, I have our totals for 2013. We had 1,586 calls. And
Is that on this piece of paper, Bobby?
no, that's the December total.
How many for 213?
1,586.
Okay, thank you.
And the December total was 136. And also, I talked to the city attorney about the county contract. It's up, and we do this year, so we'll work on that.
We're again working on an interlocal agreement with the county. Last year we got it done in February, and they didn't get it back to us until June. So Bobby reminded me this after the first of the year to get on, try to get it signed sooner. No, as far as the 50,000, we're asking for 50,000 instead of 40,000, which has been paid for how long?
Yes.
2 years.
I
So.
think back now it's cheap, it's still paying 40,000.
Oh, we guess you could get near that much. You only get like
Not bad at all.
Well, we'll make sure, I don't think that's unreasonable, so we will put that in. That of course will come back in front of the Board of Works, I believe.
Is all Bob?
Yeah.
Building department, Earl Fine?
No report.
Good. Moving on to new business, Greg Townsend, sponsorship of Polar Plunge. Gotta be out of your mind, one of ours.
First off, I'd like to thank you for your time. My name is Greg Townsend. I'm the local delegation coordinator for Special Olympics Indiana that serves the Ripley, Ohio, and Dearborn counties. With me is one of our athletes from Dearborn County, Jacob Eldridge. And as many of you probably know, that Special Olympics serves individuals with developmental disabilities, and our mission is to provide training and sports competition year-round in 20 Olympic-type sports. And it is through the Polar Plunge that is scheduled to take place at Versailles State Park on February 22nd that helps us to raise the funds necessary to fulfill our mission. And it also helps to provide training and competition on the state and national level for the athletes that live locally here in the three counties. Jacob, along with two other of our athletes that are served by the local delegation, have been selected to compete on a national level. In June of this year, Jacob and two of his fellow athletes will be traveling to Princeton, New Jersey to participate in the 2014 Special Olympics USA Games. This is a first for our local delegation, so we're very excited not to only have one, but to have three of our athletes competing on a national level. Jacob will be competing in track. He'll be running the 400-meter race, the 800-meter race, the 1,500-meter race, and participating in the 4x400.
Yeah.
So tonight, or this afternoon, we'd like to ask for your support of the Polar Plunge in the form of a sponsorship in the amount of $2,500. I think prior to the meeting, you should have received a packet of information about the different sponsorships available. And just to kind of give you an idea of the numbers that we do serve in the 3 counties, currently we're serving 203 athletes in Ripley, Ohio, and Dearborn counties. Approximately about 50% of those athletes come from Dearborn County, and 25% of those athletes reside in Lawrenceburg. Any questions?
Jackie, did you find out how much we donated last year?
In 2012, we gave $150. The only thing I could find was we made $100 donation last year to them, to Special Olympics. I don't know what for.
Last year's sponsorship for the plunge was an amount of $1,000.
How many other cities and towns donate?
As far as to the polar plunge itself, we currently, you'll see on the back of this brochure, this is our current sponsorships. I had written a letter to Jackie back in September, not really realizing that I needed to come before the council to make this request. But there are no other cities on it. But we do have, I know the city of Aurora provides us funds through their grant to send 50 athletes to summer games that take place at Indiana State University, and that was an amount of $4,000.
Now, are Special Olympics still going to do the fire truck pull?
Yes.
And the winter sports?
Yes,
Okay, see, those are all things that in 12 we donated to. I don't know about last year. I'll have to go back and look. But, you know, because we sponsored the winter sports in 12 for the amount of $10,000.
and that was the winter games that took place up at Perfect North Slopes, and that was actually a sponsorship of the games that athletes from across the state competed in. There was, I think, 180 athletes that year that competed, that came across from across the state.
My concern is still just revenue dropping.
I make a motion based on lack of revenue that we're going to receive in 214. I make a donation to the Special Olympics Satin, $500.
That motion is second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Jane, you want to come out of council donations?
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Checking where to take it from.
Timberlane, name and alley after deceased stepson.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon. This is, there's an alley that runs from Corey Street on the old section of Wilby Road over to my side yard. And some years ago, before I was married to Tony Buddenberg, she had a son. She was a single parent and did an outstanding job. I had a son the same age as Chris Brewster, and she was just an outstanding mother. He was born, I think he was 2 years old when he was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes. And he excelled in everything, sports, school, he's president of his class, student council, outstanding athlete. And I noticed, being a part of the Eddie Canoe Toy Drive this year, that there was a canoe alley named after Eddie Canoe over there. And I thought that'd be a great thing to do for a tribute to Chris. He was just a great kid, and I'd like to see if I could get this alley that is unnamed right now. It's about 100 yards long, I think, somewhere around there. Named after Chris, you know, maybe with a sign, you know, with his name up, Chris Brewster Way. I don't know if there's anything I'd need to contribute. I mean, I would. I'd be more than happy to do pay for the signs or whatever I have to do to get the thing done. I'd like to thank the council and the city for their contribution to the toy drive this year, and Mrs. Canoe for the outstanding job they do in getting that thing organized. It was just a great experience, and I was really gratified to see that they had named that in honor of Chris this year. So that's pretty much what I'd like to have done, is that alley named after Chris Brewster.
I'd like to make a motion, but I got a question first. Being it's an alley, do we have to have alley at the end of it, or can we put Chris Brewster Way?
You can name what we have in the past.
Regardless if it's an alley or not?
Yeah, it's a dead end alley.
Yeah.
Just correct the sign.
Can I ask one question? Could you tell me where that's at again?
It's
in the inventory.
Yeah, it's Quarry Drive, the old section of Bilby Road. It runs up, it's one street up from Heiner Heights. It runs over to my backyard.
You just allow them to
I mean, out of Mel Johnson, just on the corner.
Yes, yes.
Just like this came.
That would have to go in front of, planning and zoning.
Okay, I make a motion that we name the alley Chris Brewster Way.
Yes.
Second? Second. All in favor? Mike, you see, get a post and sign up.
It's,
Just double check how I'm spelling it.
okay, Chris, C-H-R-I-S, and the Brewster's B-R-E-W-S-T-E-R.
We'll exchange phone number, that way you guys can contact me.
Okay, right.
And I'd like to make it on my number.
Yes, I do.
Okay, give me a call.
And I'd like to make a comment on Chris Brewster. I personally knew him, and I loved him with all my heart.
Oh, great, thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot, appreciate it.
I'm gonna make a change here. Mr. Zapata's got an emergency, I'm gonna bring him on, so we can get him out real quick.
Thank you. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Yes, well, there is an issue, ladies and gentlemen. I am the owner of 117 Heiner Heights. This is kind of a strange story that I'll have to tell. That back in September of 2009, there was a loan taken out by a Michael Petro on the property for $10,500. This was a loan for roof, windows, and doors. This is through the, I believe, ARA loan program. Mr. Petro, subsequently to that, approximately a year and a half ago, became incarcerated. I was hired as counsel for the matter, of which the house was turned over to me for payment of attorney fees. After going through the process, finding out that there was a balance of $7,524.80 on the property. However, through the ARA program, there was a lien reduction program of which the portion of the loan would be forgiven if a certain amount was repaid. The remaining amount that's owed for the actual amount is $2,149.80. The issue I'm coming to the council today is that I'd like to resolve this matter as best and quickly as possible. I normally suggest paying the full entire balance, however, I'm asking to pay the remaining balance, which would be the $2,149.80. The reason for that, again, I do have the funds available to go ahead and make that full payment. In addition, ARA improperly executed the liens. There was a Mary Ann Turner, who was the mother of Mr. Petro, that they failed to execute the lien and mortgage regarding her. So I just want to make things as best as possible.
And looking through everything, when you did send the title search from the Eubank's office, that didn't come through to me.
Oh, it did not? Okay.
Tina Petro, was she no longer?
She was no longer, they were divorced at that time, and the Petro divorce decree provided that she have no interest in the home.
Well, as far as the lien goes, and I checked with Dearborn Title as who does our title work, if she no longer is on the loan as joint tenants with rights of survivorship, the lien would still be on his portion, his interest.
Okay.
Okay. If it were tenancies by the entirety, as you know, husband and wife, it doesn't matter. But what they told me was because it was joint, it would only be on half, the lien would only be on his half of the property,
Okay.
which at this point, both halves have been transferred to you, correct?
Correct. Whatever portion of the property has already been transferred to me, that was back a year and a half ago.
So my thing is, I mean, I don't know necessarily, there also is, when we talked about, to get on the agenda, there was also a judgment against Mr. Petro for the concrete. Is that correct? Are you also wanting to address that?
I can try to address that as best as possible, but I really don't know too much on that. As you might guess, my client wasn't too forthcoming being involved in some criminal activities. They didn't quite share all the debts that are attached to the property. The reason I'm also asking, I did do quite a bit of rehabilitation to the property. I invested $23,500 into the property and refurbished the place quite significantly.
So his basic request today, I think, from members of council is he's just basically wanting to see if it was okay with you to come to some type of compromise as far as these debts that are owed against this property. Now, as far as the concrete that was done on the property, it was not executed by the joint tenant either. So, again, the only thing it will be a lien on will be his portion of.
When was that, the concrete?
I brought the, but I don't see anything about it.
Approximately 2 years ago, I believe.
I believe it was done in 11.
So 2011, and it wasn't done right neither. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, Mary Turner, the mother did not sign that paperwork.
Is there a lien filed?
Well, we have a judgment, so yes, right now, technically, there's a judgment lien against a half interest of what Mr. Petro.
Let's be cleared up before you do anything with the whole.
Sure.
How much is that for the concrete?
I'm sorry,
No, that's fine. I did not actually bring that particular portion of it. I think it was, oh wait, I did, excuse me.
he did show up for Mr. Petro at the hearing, the small claim hearing on the concrete, and basically they admitted to the judgment, but.
No, I have it with me, I'm sorry. The statement of the claim was for $4,070.87.
And then there's also $7,524.80 left on the other loan.
Total of $11,595.67.
How much?
$11,595.67.
You acquired the property, and you were aware of the lien against the property.
No, I was not. I did not become aware of the lien until approximately Eubank Land and Title did a title search for me.
After you already purchased the property, a title search was done?
11/27 of 2000. I did not purchase it.
His client gave it to him in lieu of attorney fees, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think that's a pretty good deal, if he just gave it to you.
Well, it's not given to me. I had a Class A felonies. It took significant work, a year and a half, plus about $20,000 of other bills.
Well, I make a motion that you pay the full amount, $11,595.67.
I second that.
All in favor? Aye. All against?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Okay, just a second. Jane?
Yes.
Aaron?
No.
Bill?
No.
Mike?
Yes.
JR?
No.
It's 3 noes and 2 yeses. Okay.
So, I guess, would council like me to just, to sit down with Mr. Serapati and see if we can come into an agreement and bring it to you? Would that be?
Table is to next meeting.
Next meeting.
We'll table it till the 18th, if that's okay with you.
Thank you very much, yes. I appreciate it. Apologize, I had an emergency come up. I need to leave. Thank you very much.
John Davis, Colonel Water Eagles.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'm John Davis. Wanted to talk to you about, we're celebrating a milestone for Turner Water Eagles. We're going to celebrate our 100th anniversary. Been in the community for 100 years. Combined with that, we're also going to celebrate our auxiliary, who's been in charters for 35 years, and our Eagle Riders for 5 years. We raise a lot of money for charities. Probably since like the 80s, we've raised over $120,000. Last year we gave $7,000 in scholarships to Lawrenceburg families, students going on to college. And I'm here today just to ask for help offset our cost of our celebration. It's going to be February 15th, and we're asking for $6,000 to help offset the costs. We're going to have all kind of dignitaries in. Of course, Lawrenceburg City Council's invited. We have some other state of Indiana dignitaries coming in as well. And our doors are open at 5 o'clock to eat. And we're just asking, and we've never asked for donations in the past. With the economic times, our donations are down. Of course, like I said, we still do our charity work. So we thought, let's go to Lawrenceburg and see if we can get some help. And we appreciate any help that you could give us. Like I said, February 15th is our 100th anniversary. We've been in the community helping out. So it's really special to us.
What was the total cost, John, of the banquet?
As of right now, between the food, the music, and everything, we're right about, I think we're close to $6,100 with everything we've got right now, budgeted for what we're paying out.
Anything else, board?
Yeah, it's a revolving fee for Ragnar Hall.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Put that motion. Motion and second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
I would like to see him help out with something. I've been to a few of their, meetings, and he said scholarships, but I also see him donate to sports teams, Lawrenceburg after proms. I mean, they do a lot of money in the community.
Right.
They've never been in here since I've been here asking for a donation.
Yes, we sponsor like underprivileged children that can help offset their costs to DC. We usually sponsor 1 or 2 children to go on that trip. Imagination, when they go there. We do all kind of scholastics. We do wrestling, Mother's Club.
It was a fine job, Tom.
Thanks.
Total bill for the county, $6,100.
That right now is what we, on our budget, that's what we have, that we know we're gonna have to pay out. Between the food, we're having it catered in by Rolling Pin, and
I'd like to make a comment. I know you've done a lot of good for the people in the community, and you do a lot of good for members in your organization, help when they need it too.
Yeah.
When it comes to a loss of a spouse or a child or whatever. So I think it's a great organization, but with some information that I found out today and looking toward the future, I make a motion that we donate $1,000.
Have a motion, here a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Andy Klein, Guns and Hoses.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Klein, Indiana Conservation Officer. This is Sarah Blanco, who works at the Children's Advocacy Center out at Dillsboro. I'm on the board of the Guns and Hoses Board. This year, Southeastern Indiana 911 Gives Hope is making plans for its third annual Guns and Hoses charity boxing event set place to take Saturday, March the 1st of 2014. During this event, brave law enforcement officers and firefighters who put their lives on the line every day will put it all on the line in the ring to help protect those who cannot protect themselves. 80% of the money that will be raised from this boxing event will support the Regional Children's Advocacy Center of Southeastern Indiana, or the CAC, that opened in September 2009 and serves Dearborn, Decatur, Jefferson, Jennings, Ohio, Ripley, and Switzerland County. To date, it has seen over 1,500 children who have been mentally or sexually abused. The CAC is a neutral, child-friendly place where law enforcement officers, child protection services, prosecutor's office from more than 7 counties can bring children in for forensic interview after these allegations of abuse or neglect. It's important to support this very special place where children who may not have a voice anywhere else can go to be heard. The remaining 20% of the benefits will be put to 2 other different charities. I believe this year it's going to be to the Red Cross and also for Angels for Isaac. That's the other 20% where that monies will go to. There are 8 different sponsorship levels. Sarah actually gave you a program that's come from either the first or second Guns and Hoses that we've had. Lawrenceburg has given $5,000 sponsorship in each of one of those in the past. Your ad is on the very front page, just on the inside the first page. We are asking again this year that the city of Lawrenceburg could again sponsor it for $5,000. I did give Jackie a packet and also the information on that a few weeks ago for this.
Anything on the board?
I don't remember giving money to Guns and Hoses. What year did we donate money?
We didn't do it last year. It was 2011 and 2012. And there's 2 officers from Lawrenceburg that are boxing.
Roger Houston and Troy Cochran are boxing this year from Lawrenceburg.
I thought Craig did. Daniel?
He did the very first year in 2000. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, that's why I had heard that, but I didn't know.
Yeah, we couldn't get him to do it again this year.
It's funny to hear about the fire department say, it's the only time you'll be able to hit a cop.
That's right. Absolutely. No other place can you go and watch a couple of firefighters and policemen duke it out with each other. It's 3 one-minute rounds. We have detectives from Indianapolis who are licensed boxing officials who will come down and officiate it. There will be a medical doctor to give physicals. They'll have ring girls, the whole 9 yards, and yours truly will sing the national anthem at the opening ceremony. So.
A girl fight, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, this year we'll have the very first female boxing event between a female gaming agent and a female firefighter.
And where will this take place at?
This is at Belterra Casino on March the 1st of 2014 at 7 p.m.
With your sponsorship, you get a certain amount of tickets, too, and hope you would come. It's fun.
I believe the $5,000, 8 sponsored tickets in the celebrity room.
Is there any idea of moving it up here in Lawrenceburg?
Absolutely. That's one thing that we are considering once that gets opened.
I'd just like to stress once again about the revenue, and the second, I don't think that we should take any tickets or anything for free and give it discount to people that's going to attend or whatever they want to do with it.
Again, the CAC is a facility where children who have been
abused and neglected will have a place where that they can be interviewed and everything, so it is a very worthy cause.
In light of the revenue, I make a motion that we give Gun and Hoses a $1,000 sponsorship, take it from city council donations.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Very good. Thank you.
Jackie, the one previous council too.
Okay.
We're going to take a restroom break right now. Short recess.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, and it's like, why? The rest of it is so awesome.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I think last year they postponed it. They postponed it last year or sometime last year. I don't know if they said that to
But it's worth
Take it easy, Mario. I don't want to food or just been having trouble there for a while now. See, that's the only time I would go on. See, I think see, you could camp up there, you could drive, take your camper and beat some up. Yeah. That's a very expensive cruise. It's like, a friend of mine took his wife before he passed away. That's what he wanted to do, and I think he spent like 18, he paid top of it. He never went, he was a big vacation, so he wanted to go all that on cruise, and then he died back here. So it was a vacation here, went on. You get a cheap cruise, it's
is what you're on there, if you want, it's how much you want to spend in gambling and alcohol. Right, yeah. Well, see, me and White Boy, we went 3 days to the College Mountain, we drove down, we got on there, and that was 2 days. I just wasn't a big fan of the cruise ship. Get bad weather, I wasn't gonna pay a ton of money for drinking much anymore, and I don't gamble, so it's kind of useless when all the shows started. I drank a few, and I probably drank 100 drinks of beer, but it was like the shows, they were like an hour behind us, you know, the show just starts like, my time, man, I'm in bed by we did it. We were on a small board. Every time they have this, when you see that board by the seat, I'm never too old. It's too tight. I do like a lot of musical chairs here.
I still don't like it. And it's not.
Hanging right with my
Yeah. And
I gotta have a copy to send to the state too. I can make copies though. Yeah. I sent them to
Donation request to Louisville Hill Lake Program. Did I say that wrong?
You did. It's Tisha.
Tisha.
No R. Do you already have information? Okay. Oh, good. We'll save them then. We'll save them. This is Margie Clyer. She's on the Hoosier Hills Literacy Board with me. I want to thank you for your time. I've never had to do this before, so you have to bear with me. But the Literacy League, obviously literacy is very important, and we have been around since 1978. We're at an emergency funding crisis right now. Approximately, I think it was a month or so ago, we were able to get some funds from the city, I believe, or the council. I'm not sure how all the...
It's from AEP.
Okay, AEP, which was able to keep us afloat. We only have one paid salary person. $15,000 a year is all they make. That's a part-time paid salary person. The rest of us all donate our time. I think that speaks volumes. We are not an organization that has a lot of paid employees, but, you know, like I work more than one job to get my student loans paid. And most of the people that are involved and dedicated work second jobs or they have families and so forth. So I think it's a really good program. We do literacy. Everybody knows that literacy is the key. Doesn't matter how old you are. There has been tons of research done that if you get early literacy, your test scores and your education and your academic success is much more favorable. There's favorable outcomes. One of the programs that we do, and I think you have information on the Imagination Library, I'm a really strong advocate. We've partnered with Dolly Parton Foundation, and we have been doing a lot of grants and stuff like that, but we're just at the end of all of our cycles, and our donations are really down because it's a tough economy. But anyway, this program, we're really proud of it because, there is no income. Anybody can be a part of it. It promotes literacy. And we used to do hardback books, but we didn't have the money to do that, so we switched to the softer books so that we could serve more children in the area. And what I like about it, these are my niece's books, and I have a kindergartner and a third grader, and so they use these in school. They're using for AR, so they can still use these when they're in school. It's a program that it's from birth to 5 years old, and there's a lot of kids in our community. Being a clinical social worker, I get poverty, and there's a lot of kids that don't get to go to Barnes & Noble or Walmart for a book, and these are the only books that they have. And I really feel that reading is really important. I've done tutoring for kids, and also when I worked at the jail and things like that. I mean, literacy is a huge issue. Even if you can't read, it's been proven that you can look at pictures, and that promotes literacy. So I think that this is an expensive program. Our total operating expenses are approximately $45,000 a year. We're asking for $16,000 to help us keep afloat. And I'm willing to answer any questions that you have. We do individual tutoring. We've done group tutorings. We have an After the Bell program, which many people know about. That's for a variety of ages in case they don't want to go to the school tutoring. I helped develop that program when I was a probation officer because a lot of my clientele at the time did not like school. They were very fearful. There was a stigma. So I started that program for them. It worked very well. We're redeveloping that program to try to reach more children. I'm doing more literacy games and things like that. And then we do the pre-GED work as well. It's very embarrassing for people to do pre-GED. I can't stress that enough. And that's why I think it's very important. Literacy, we're quiet. You don't hear about us. We're not sexy and attractive, reading. But it's important, and so they can come into the library. The library's been a strong supporter of us. That's how we are able to stay afloat. Our office space is there. I'd be more than happy to show you a budget. I don't have that with me today, but you can see we're pretty frugal. And like I said, we are mostly all volunteers, but when I talked to some federal organizations recently, and they wouldn't let me use their names, but they're like, we love your program, this is what we want to see. And I'm like, well, then why won't you fund us? Well, we don't like to fund salaries. I'm like, well, we have one salary. Who do you think delivers these programs or puts the information into the Imagination Library? I can't do it all, So we're just here seeking emergency funding, willing to take any questions that you have. And I keep hearing about the budgets and all the budget cuts, and I get that, but I really feel like that we are worth investing because, kids are the future. And I also, like I said, we serve a lot of adults, but it is confidential, and it's embarrassing when you have literacy issues. It really is. So, I think that our service is valuable, and I hope that you will think that as well, and we would appreciate any support that you'd be willing to give us. And we have changed. We do. I had a flyer, the literacy giving for Christmas and stuff. I know I give to Samaritan's Purse and different missions instead of gifts, and we have that now that people can donate money, and we send a card saying that money was donated in your honor for literacy. We do get private donations, but it's just tough for everybody right now. So that's
money from the foundation.
We just recently got the one grant from the AEP. I know we have in the past had some money from the foundations, and those are grant specific. We're always applying for grants. That's why we need our part-time person, because she does that for us. And I do know that we've been really lucky with the library until they had some funding crises themselves. They were supporting us for the last couple of years, and we're linked with United Way. We get a couple $100 a month from them. So we have some small monies that we are receiving, and we are really, really trying.
We did get a recent Community Foundation grant, but again, as Tish mentioned.
Yeah, no staffing.
Well, everybody wants to fund the one-time shots, and the operating cost, as you all know, is not funded through most foundations and grants. It's hard to operate without an individual person to help. I'm also a volunteer on the board. I'm the current president of the board. My real life, I am the business manager at the library here in Lawrenceburg, and I do appreciate Lawrenceburg's support throughout the year with the library. It's a wonderful place. And we certainly do everything we can to help with the Literacy League as well, but we can't be the sole supporter of that program. Because it affects everything in the community. It affects the schools, it affects our jobs, economic development. I could tell you just a quick story, and I know you got a lot on your agenda, but I'm very involved with the pre-GED, and it's been extremely gratifying for me because I do the math part. I'm a math person, so I do all the math end of learning through pre-GED. Well, I have to tell you, 2 of my students, I was over at Ivy Tech, Lawrenceburg here at Riverfront campus, and I was there for a volunteer fair. You know, we solicit volunteers from Ivy Tech. 2 of my students came up and I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? So here they were. They got their GED right here, Lawrenceburg, and started over at Ivy Tech. It was just so gratifying to know that they were going to have something in the end, and economically it's going to impact us as Lawrenceburg. And it makes a huge difference.
Do you get referrals from the unemployment office, the workforce development?
We do.
Are you the ones that take care of the GED program for them?
No, we do not take care of it for them. There's a gap. There's a certain section at Work One where if they're lower than the ability, they cannot qualify for Work One. So we do that lower ability person to get them to the point where they can go. So we're coordinating constantly with all the other GED, because that's why ours is pre-GED.
Right.
A lot of times too, the kids that I represented, she mentioned being a probation officer. A lot of times, if they're incarcerated at the juvenile center, the pre-GED, that's what they work on, because they know a lot of times they're 16 or older, and they don't, they know they're not going to finish school, so they know the GED is the way they're going to have to go, and this program's always been a big help to them.
And the GED program's tough now, folks. I was looking at some of the stuff, I was like, wow, I have a master's degree, but it's getting tougher, so the pre-GED component really is important because we have to get them ready for that next level. So.
Most of the funding is for books?
No, it's $16,000 for our budget, which would be everything. It'd be like our imagination library, it'd be part of the salary for our part-time paid person, that kind of stuff. Programming, the pre-GED.
Could you survive without the $16,000?
We're looking at closing. We've been trying everything. We have enough for about 5 or 6 months, and we're trying to secure funding for the rest, for the whole 2014, so we can go back to the library and say, look, the city is really supportive. They provided that emergency funding. Will you provide half for next year? Because I don't want to be back here next year asking for a bunch of money. I like to be able to come back if I have to come back and say, okay, this is all I need this year. And gradually less and less and less is what I would like. But a lot of that depends on private donations and our economy and things like that, so.
Mayor, for what this is for, because it boils all the way down to economic development, our kids, teaching them reading and everything. Is there a way that we can write a letter to the foundation of recommendation for them to support a grant for them?
I don't see why not.
Because they have enough money funding for a little while.
We do, yeah.
If we could write a letter of support to the foundation to ask them to.
I would be interested in either doing a donation out of our council or just do an additional appropriation. One or the other.
Do you have something to talk?
Mr. Lawrence was talking about the foundation. Have you applied for this season for the
We have, you're only allowed to apply so much, and so we apply when we can, and then it's very specific, we cannot use that money for salaries or anything like that. It's only like if you need a laptop or certain books and things like that. And really, we need our part-time staff. They help write the grants, and they help supply the tutor trainings, and they help us with tutoring and the day-to-day stuff. It's really...
If schools adopted those policies, so you would have to probably change that criteria based on...
And I will say that the Dearborn Community Foundation has been as changing as they could within the policies. They are working with us with this grant that they gave us recently. But again, as mentioned, they do have their guidelines and policies set out, and so they're real specific about making sure we do not spend it on a salary.
Because there was already a budget passed for a whole lot more money than projected revenue.
Mario, I agree with you. And I've heard this from other nonprofits throughout the community. We need to work with the Dearborn Community Foundation so that some salaries can be included. Because these
not case by case type basis.
Right. And I know we're up to, they're on the agenda tonight to be approved, but I see it coming where they're going to have to loosen up on that and put money toward salaries just to maintain what the community needs.
For certain things.
For certain things.
And ours is very meager.
And like I said, case by case. So do you think, Mayor, that would be possible?
Draft a letter to them and ask them to do that, yes.
Well, we oversee the Dearborn County Communication. We can change the contract, case by case.
Well, isn't it in here to be renewed?
I think this is just for the scholarships, isn't it?
Yeah, this is for that.
For both of them.
Yeah, this one, it's not on the agenda, but it was supposed to be put.
You just want to add to it, you don't want to change the whole process. You just want to add to the process.
Well, when like, if it came in front of the board, when we have to actually approve or deny them, you know,
And that's
if they
the
have
time
a denial,
to be
maybe it's
negotiating that?
salary.
Well, I've got them here, yeah.
Because it's on, the agreement's on the agenda for tonight, so
Unless they
probably
could
should
please,
be looking at renegotiating that agreement.
you think we need to renegotiate it, or Leslie, could you repeat what you just stated to me?
I think that, well, the church was a case in point. I think that was one we had the last year, right, where we basically said we want them to reconsider it. I think you could do the same thing with them if they, if you were denied by the foundation because it was, the salary, it was something this board will look at finally before,
They may not even.
Yeah, we're not allowed to reapply yet. There's like guidelines on reapplying, and we reapplied the last time, and you're not allowed to do that.
We'd have to look at the timing.
When are you allowed to reapply?
I don't
We
think,
just got a $3,000 grant from them. So that was just given to us in, like January 1, just
or
recently.
late December, yeah.
Yeah, so.
So it'd have to be
it'd a year.
2015.
It'd be 2015, which we will be happy to do.
Yes,
We'll be
yes.
glad to-
Yes.
We can make an amendment to it. I mean, there's no sense changing the whole thing, you just want to amend that part.
Well, then we have to also amend that they can reapply another time in 214.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you go for the bigger, well, they've got phase 1 and phase 2, anything over 10,000.
If they'll let us, again, of all the stuff.
For phase 2, over 10,000, I think you're allowed to do that. I've written grants to the Community Foundation before for under 10 and over 10. So that's a possibility that you could do the phase 2 for the 16,000.
Okay.
And we can write a letter to the Community Foundation if this board's in agreement with me, to recommend to them to give them the full 16,000.
Okay, first to see what the board agreement, write a letter.
Fine.
Your motion?
I'll make a motion that we allow Leslie to write a letter to the foundation, asking them to consider a grant for the literacy program in the amount of $16,000.
Your second.
Can I add something on there real quick, see if Mike will let me? And then if that's denied, maybe she can come back to the second meeting in February, just to see how it went.
If we can get a response back.
Well, Leslie, when you add that letter, you're gonna have to ask them if they can write for the second grant in 214 for the phase 2, over 10,000. And, which I think they should be able to do, the way I understand the grant system. And that we highly recommend the full 16,000. And you ladies, go ahead and write that grant.
Okay.
Because Leslie says is if it's denied, which I hate to overrule that board, I really do, because it was set up for a reason, and they decline your grant, we can put the grant through if I can get some consensus with the board that that's a possibility that we could do that or would do that.
And you've got enough money to get you through a few months, right?
Yeah, we have enough for approximately 5 months.
I got a motion, do I have a second? Like the letter to the board.
Right, letter to foundation to support the 2014 Phase 2 grant of $16,000. When submitted to, one submitted by the.
Okay.
That's the motion, right?
Okay, can I get my question answered? And if they write the grant and they're declined, this is not in the motion, this is just a question, discussion now. Will this board overrule their decline in that 16,000?
It says in page 4 of our agreement with them, it says the DCF and advisory committee shall recommend the city recipients of such grants at such times in the discretion of DCF. The city shall vote to approve, deny, or amend such grant recommendations prior to any distribution of funds.
Okay, so we can do that.
We've done it before.
And as well, I know we got at least 3 people that would be willing to do that.
All right, well, I'm willing to do it to help them get the money wherever we can.
Write your grant.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Is my kindergartner behaving in your class?
Yes. Yes, of course, right now.
Yes, it's been good seeing you. I've
Good
seen
seeing
you for a
you.
while.
Thank you.
Good shot.
Hamilton, Hillsborough Homecoming Festival. How you doing?
Good, how are you? I'm the chairman of the Lawrenceburg Homecoming Festival. The last 2 years, we've received a $5,000 donation from the Lawrenceburg City Council. That money has went towards allowing the Dillsboro kids to ride the rides for free one night of the fair. I was coming to ask for the $5,000 as the budget, so I'll ask for $1,000 this year to help go towards that. We also receive help from Dillsboro, and we got help from the AEP grant last year also, so.
Any of the board?
Make a motion to approve $1,000 out of the council donation.
Just a second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
Thanks.
Suzanne and I couldn't make it tonight.
Well, she did come in front of us in, December. This is for Lawrence.
Although he's doing it every day.
No, not really. There's a girl in high school, is all I know.
There was, generally, I know that January 19th is last Sunday. There was a benefit for Lauren Hill, who's a local,
Athlete, isn't she?
Lady Tiger. She's a senior at Lawrenceburg High School. The flyers in your packets has been there since the meeting on the 6th. I do know that they were able to raise quite a bit of money. A really good story, I think Switzerland County Schools have had some kind of varsity game, passed around a bucket, and raised almost $3,000 for them.
Oh my.
So,
That's great.
I don't know, that's all I know about it. I do know,
What their fundraiser at Agner Hall, when I was there, they already had to make 2 trips to the bank to take the money
wow.
at the time I was there.
So I didn't know, this is something ongoing. I think she has set up an account at Fifth Third Bank, where the council can donate if they wanted to.
I'll throw my 2 cents in there, which I've donated, and I fought myself hard on this one, but if you vote to donate money, how are you ever going to be able to say no to any person that ever comes before this council with cancer? I would just ask that hopefully every individual sitting up here on this council will personally donate, along with the mayor, clerk, treasurer, anybody and everybody else. But I could not vote to do it because you could never look someone in the eye that'd come to that podium and vote no.
Anything else, me, Miles?
I think the same token, donations come in different forms, whether it's Agner Hall or the use of something for monetary means. It's all a donation, so.
And we did donate Agner Hall. And we do have several people in the community right now that are suffering from cancer. And I don't know if I was told one person approached the board for a cancer donation. I don't mention his name, but it was denied by a previous council. And how could we say yes to one cancer victim and no to those that come after? And I will personally make a donation.
What else on board? What's board want to do? Guys. Okay, let's vote all opposed, memorandum, understanding with school corporation.
As you said earlier in the meeting, there is a meeting tomorrow for the revolving loan fund, which is all council. At that time, representatives from Miller and Abel will be here. They are coming tomorrow, as the agenda states, for the revolving loan. They're looking for a loan. This has to do with the $4 million that was budgeted for the Lawrenceburg Community School Corporation. It's a letter of understanding so that, for many reasons, the main reason being for their underwriters. If they do have to go and address a bond issue, they're not going to just take our word for it, their word for it, that the city of Lawrenceburg is going to give them $4 million. Basically, what this says is a commitment from the city to grant the money that you budgeted for them. And that the principal points is going to be solely for the total cost of expenses directly related to the project. The project has been, and I did stress this because of the turf football field, that the project is only the replacement of the George Bud Bateman Gymnasium and other site improvements, which would include, the other facilities that are contained within the new gymnasium complex, I guess is the best word for it. And if you look at that first paragraph, it says the project specifically excludes any costs or expenses related to the installation of the proposed multi-purpose field turf and football stadium. The other thing, like I mentioned before, we would use a financial institution as an escrow agent. They would hold the grant funds. The disbursement portion of it, like what I talked about at the last meeting, our construction manager or Mr. Hughes would review the invoices, go to the site and see if they needed to on certain things. I'm sure they're not going to need to, but to make sure that it is going towards the project. Like I said, we did do that also. The same type of agreement was done with Aurora when they did their sewer project last year. And the other thing is with Aurora, we had an account which was drawing interest. And I did say, that would probably be in the best interest of the city to have an account where the interest, while they're drawing it out, is still going to grow. And it does say that the accumulated interest earned on the principal during the term of the project would also be paid, back to the city. So we're making not a whole lot of our money, but at least, there would be something. Like I said, I did hand this out tonight. I just received it about 2:30 today. And so I wasn't able, obviously, to get it in the packets. I did go ahead and ask, did a form to get it set for the agenda, but
It will be on our loan committee agenda tomorrow night, too.
well, I think as far as just for the fact that the revolving loan fund is also city council, any questions that you might have as this, how this is being proposed to be set up in conjunction with the loan that they're asking for, I think would be okay to talk about because it is a public meeting tomorrow. But as far as any kind of approval on this, this is just for your information and we will address it at the next meeting.
Council meeting or tomorrow night?
No,
Council
next,
meeting.
none of the meetings this week, we'll do it on the 3rd, right? Yeah, we'll bring it back to you on the 3rd and complete.
So we need to hang on to this.
Yes, but I do wanted to at least get it to you tonight so that you have time to look over it. Just a couple things. There are ways for, well, you know what? We have a whole meeting on it tomorrow. We can just talk about it tomorrow.
Bill Brunner, election 214 council president.
2014, new year, we need a new president, so I would elect, motion to elect, nominate Darrell Oldcraft as new council president.
Most there is second.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
President, that's what Ward 1, where I feel with the mayor's going to return, vice mayor, I always look for vice mayor to be
So you don't accept?
I will for board.
That's what the board wants.
I feel Bill Room.
Okay, got a motion there, a second? Back a second.
I make a motion to nominate Aaron Cook for city council president.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
Aye.
Have a roll call, please.
Okay. Jane?
Yes.
Aaron?
I guess I'll be a tiebreaker and say yes for myself then.
Bill?
No.
Okay. Mike?
Yes.
Okay. JR? Okay. 3 yeses.
That's the council president 214. Dan Hughes, discussion of lobbyists.
Thank you, Your Honor. What I wanted to do this evening is bring to your attention and consideration lobbying efforts that are needed. This year alone in the 2014 legislation, there's over 900 bills being proposed. And we're needing, right now, of those 900 bills, there's roughly 15 that affect our community. Some of them affect all cities, but 10 of those affect our community because of some of the financing and the different entities we have here. We need lobbying support in the following areas, and that would be, of course, gaming. Bills 364, 384, and House Bill 1271 have started to make some moves towards redefining the head tax that we receive, and
That's the one everyone receives, correct?
that's one everyone receives. But and just a synopsis on 364 kind of gives you an idea where the State House is headed. Gaming Matters authorized a riverboat to extend its gaming operation to a riverboat corridor. Requires that a riverboat corridor must be in compliance with all applicable building codes and safety requirements imposed by the Gaming Commission. Prohibits the Gaming Commission from imposing a fee for the privilege of extending gaming operation to the riverfront corridor. Authorizes table games at racinos. Repeals an obsolete definition. Repeals the riverboat admission tax
and replaces it with an annual community development fee that is equal to the admission tax remitted in the state fiscal year 2014. This is Senate Bill 364. It's about 51 pages. It's a concern because, as you all know, we got revenues that are declining, and we got a state that's proposing a business tax to appeal business tax on manufacturing equipment, and they're not telling the cities and the counties where the money's going to come from to make up for it. So we need to assume that they're looking at revenue from the gaming to be increased with additional taxes. Other areas, the Port Authority, there was some movement on the Port Authority with some changes there where they were going to be more state controlled, and under the Ports of Indiana, which is kind of a quasi-government, redevelopment commissions are on the list strongly this year. A lot of that activity that occurred north of Indianapolis has brought this on, but TIF funds are more reporting and a lot of requirements additional requirements from DLGF. And that involves Senate Bill 118, Senate Bill 418, and House Bill 1266. Port Authorities was House Bill 1189.
It's 364, 118, 418, and what was the third one, House Bill?
1266.
Was there another House?
That's a House Bill. House Bill 1189. And 1271, which is back up to gaming. All of them have got a mix of something in them. I mean, you gotta look at all of them to get it, but they got bits and pieces. I think it's showing what we're going to be faced next year. Now, with that said, what we'll talk to board about on a lobbying effort, we currently are under contract with Lewis and Capps. That is a joint contract that we have.
It expired.
Okay. Well, we're under, currently they're up there working on our behalf, and the interlocal agreements are being put together. It's always lagged behind, but they ran a year.
Because I got the agreement from the county or from somebody.
So January 1, it's here. And we're spending, with the county, we're teamed up there and we're spending $24,000 a year. In the limited research that I've done, and in discussions with Leslie, one of the things we've got to be aware of is that there'll come a time when you've got a lobbyist, and let's say that they try to do something different with the county and maybe leave the city alone, then maybe we're not in the same boat. So you're going to come up with a conflict of interest at some point. And it's advisable that with all that we have that is exposed here with the decrease in revenues, the state looking for additional funding, we should look at obtaining a lobbyist for the city of Lawrenceburg.
Alone, and not in conjunction with the county. I agree. I definitely agree.
The thing that, I mean, this is short session, but I think 364 shows you what they're going to be up to. And, they capped last year on the amount of money. Back in 02 and 04, they said, you're making too much money, we're going to cap you. And of course, somebody asked a question back then, well, what if we don't make as much money? Well, we'll always pay you up to that total. Well, last year's bill capped that cap, okay? And there's only so much money. Yes, it's helping this year, but if you see the decline, it's going to get worse. Now, with them wanting to, and what I find interesting in here, replaces River Road admission tax and replaces it with an annual community development fee. It's interesting that they use the word development, because we have a development agreement that stands outside of the admissions. So I don't know quite where everybody's headed with this, but it's raised some eyebrows. Not just mine, but with all the communities that got votes. And in a discussion I had with Lake County's lobbyist on Wednesday, he concurred that this is the state posturing. So I wanted to bring it to your all's attention. I think it's something that you should consider an appropriation, because we need to bring somebody on while we still have got Lewis and Caps maybe in their last year, if that's the wishes. And to give you an idea, budget-wise, it's $84,000 a year as a normal fee for a lobbyist in Indy.
Would we retain the one we got with the county, or?
I think you'd at least want to keep that one in place for this year, but bring the other one in this year to get up and running, because it's going to be hard to mount a defense at January 1 for an opening of the
Mayor has not
legislation.
signed this agreement, this new agreement,
Huh?
right? I mean, we're not locked into a new agreement at this
No, we're
point.
not locked in, no.
But they have done well. She especially's done well.
Can we cut $84,000 total out of several different line items, to get that money?
Huh?
Can we cut $84,000 out of other line items, not to increase?
Well, Mike, and this is me personally talking, and with what I'm seeing, yeah, we need to go find it and try to put it together, because I think the handwriting's on the wall.
And talking about revenue, when do we find out about true up?
Very soon.
Don't know yet.
It should be, I didn't see it today unless it came late, but it should be in the next day or two, yes.
So we don't know what it is?
I agree with you, Grant. They're coming after us. Some of it's due to our lack of administrating the money right. Go ahead, Mario.
Well, I think they're gonna, when you say come after us, I think they're gonna do it across the board
They are, but they're, they're,
for every community, or it'll suck us into that, and just percentage-wise, we'll be hit the hardest.
Yeah, it's just, one of the things that I learned from Lake County and some of the discussions over the last 6 months. What happened to Lake County up there? And of course, there were some things that went on up there with so-called nonprofits that ended up being for-profit organizations that were involved in the revenue. But the interesting thing was how the commission got in the middle of it and stopped and made the biggest impact. They told the license holder for the gaming facility not to send the money to the county or to the city. So then, all of a sudden, the revenue stream stopped, and it stopped for 18 months up there.
in Lake County.
Yes.
Can I have a copy of that? That's gonna go before the legislative.
The thing with Lewis and Cass is, we wouldn't get a report till late, we'd already find out our own, what went on up there. But she wouldn't get a report down to us forever, somebody wouldn't get in.
I think we should keep her on board, like Grant said, and go ahead and attain a new one for us personally.
Because with the contract with them from last year, I decided up, it's about 72,000 was what she was, what Lewis and Cathos was getting from all those entities. It was 72,000 was the
Yes.
total contract with the county and us paying paying 48,000 of this.
I thought you said 24,000.
That was our
That was
share.
our share.
Your share.
Okay.
That's our
Well,
share.
that's what we pay as the city of Lawrenceburg, is 24,000.
Correct. But the total contract for everyone down here, which was Greendale, Aurora, Dillsboro, Morrisville, St. Leon, West Harrison, and the county, all of those entities, which is 72,000 altogether.
Well, I personally met her, and I met her with the mayor, and I can't remember who else said in that meeting. She's done a good job, and I think she will continue to do a good job, but I agree, we'll separate ourselves from the city and the county. At the same time, Grant, go ahead, get us a new lobbyist, one that's qualified and is gonna, for us. And Mario, whatever comment.
Well, I think Mr. Lawrence, like he said, if we can find it within, without raising the existing, I think staff-wise, I think we can find it within the budget.
I think the 10 County Grant Committee better grant Lawrenceburg $84,000.
Well, you can do that as operating fund, I think. This for that too.
That's economic development. Without that money,
County grant?
there'll be no economic development.
Self-survival.
I think we have to make these good operating funds. Same
We
way
would make
people do
sure,
that.
we would make sure that whoever we do get is gonna give us a monthly report. It's not gonna be, you know, here and there.
And I think.
But all we have to do,
And I think we as council and mayor and Grant should be invited to these legislative meetings. We should be seen.
all we have to do is vote to transfer $84,000 out of that line item into a new line item for us.
But I do believe we should keep the first lobbyist for 214 with the new lobbyist for
We
214.
talked to people, we stated we wanted the council and everybody to get these reports as soon as possible, so everybody knows what's going on. Before we didn't get reports. But I'm not too sure I can say this, but the lobbying effort might be for somebody else more than us. The gaming industry.
And this would be our protection, the city's interests, before the Indiana Gaming Commission, before the Indiana General Assembly, and then also, you know, just
Well,
general.
it's also, it's expanded to year-round. For example, some of the people I've talked to says that we should bring the gaming commissioner, the chairman of the gaming commission down here for a tour. We need to start telling our story and talk about what's been done, how much money comes out of this community, goes to other communities. So there's stuff that needs to be done, and guys, it really needs to be watched this summer because some of these subcommittees that'll be formed, that's where this stuff will start coming out. So it's a 12-month job.
Our two legislators, Randy Fry and Judd McMillan, supporting the city of Lawrenceburg.
I tell you what, Randy's a
Or he's
but we use Randy. We call Randy when we got questions. He always answers the phone, and he'll go do some research. This Port Authority, he was real supportive on getting us information. And then actually, Jeff and I met the representative Soliday during the summer and had a discussion with him about Cincinnati trying to claim Dearborn County and Indiana counties down through there as part of their port and stuff like that. So, you know, he was saying that this legislation would help protect that. Well, when we saw the legislation 2 days before the hearing, it didn't have it in it. So it's, you know, stuff like that that we've got to have a representation and we've got to be involved in. And part of that too, the onus comes back on us. When it's time to go up there for a hearing, we got to get up there and go to the hearing. Because they, you know, those lobbyists are always there talking, but we need the other voices up there talking that they don't know and they represent the city.
I've talked to other mayors, different communities, gaming bunks, they got their lobbyists too. The more lobbyists we got working for this community, the better off we are. Because we know a lot of senators and reps up there, you get to them, talk to them, but you don't know what you're going to tackle on another bill. That's the bad one. We need our representation badly. And Lewis Caps has done good in the past, but their efforts is not what it used to be.
I think one of the, Jane, Lewis and Caps faltered for about 2 weeks last year in February. There was a bill that got through the Senate, and it was about 3 weeks before, and we actually picked it up local before Lewis and Caps did.
Well, the only thing
And I think, but to that point though, this year with this House Bill 364, they were on it within 3 or 4 days of the Senate putting it out. And I got word on the 7th day. But there are things that happen up there. It's like, yeah, we're following it, but we're talking to members of the Senate, and there's a lot of members who are thinking it won't move forward, or it will move forward. And then there's caucuses that are formed, and they have discussions, and so.
My only fear is if we let them go, they could turn against us.
Well,
We keep them for at least one more year with our new lobbyist.
I think that's a good idea.
Because I really do think, if we let them go, their focus will be for the county instead of the city of Lawrenceburg.
So I was gonna take everybody's email, when we get the information, you'll have the same time.
And I want to go to Indianapolis. I want to go.
Time until we are. We have.
Well, like he said, they probably want to see some faces that they haven't seen. They probably even want to see people from the community.
It works the halls, it works a lot of.
Well, and they'll be able to tell us, who it is, if it's something about redevelopment, well, maybe Mr. Hughes would be the best one to be there. If
Correct.
it's something that has to do with fire department, we can make sure, something, they'll coordinate that. Good luck this way.
So are we in agreement to keep both, the old and her new?
Wouldn't be a bad idea. You wanna put that in motion?
But then what are we going to do about the funding? Let's get that clarified.
I guess it would be.
I think you can make it predicated on the staff finding it.
I agree with Mike. I think we should take a vote for operational funds come out of the 10th county grant. That's part of that too, it's economic development.
That you're not gonna have any more.
We don't have money, we're not gonna need economic development.
No, you're not gonna have any grant program.
Can you do that tomorrow at your meeting?
We can do that right now.
I'll make a motion right now. I'm gonna say that we transfer $90,000 from the 10 county grant fund into a separate account to hire our own lobbyist.
And retain the one we have on staff too.
It's already funded.
It's already funded. It was already in the budget.
Well, that has nothing to do with,
Yeah, but she hasn't entered the well, you can make it in separate motions, I guess.
because there's already funding for it, right?
Right, but she
Yeah,
hasn't signed a contract, her or the mayor.
I just made a motion to transfer the money into a separate account, or a new line item.
From the 10 county grant? I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Yes, okay. Now you wanna make a motion to keep both lots?
Yes, I'd like to renew.
I don't know that, the only thing I have is the only thing is I don't know if you want two people.
I think that should be talked about and thought about a little bit before.
Yeah.
Well,
Because, you could have, let's say you have one person going saying one thing, and then the one that we're actually, the one voice that we're talking to.
And then when one finds out that hired one of their
Yeah.
own, it might not
It
be
might
so.
They're attorneys, but, so.
I've had the discussion, and I think there's a way to work it out. It could be just centered on bills where one's in a supportive role, the other one's out front. And then if we have to, we'll look at switching. But
I think we should retain them another year. I've only met this lady once. I know her mentality.
I would say for continuity and, bringing in the new one, we need to retain them. We're talking about $24,000.
And it's already in the budget.
But my big thing, I just want to make sure that there's not butting heads.
Right.
To just sit here and vote to renew it, and then you go hire this person, you don't know what, these agreements need to say, and I'm just not so sure that's the right thing.
Well, I think with the legislation underway and the bills that are out there, it's strictly, what we can do is say it's more
For the session.
preparing them for, and having them work on the issues.
Not to say that they haven't, because this session's pretty much done as far as lobbying, right?
Oh, no,
there's still
started.
What'll happen now, the 900, the ones that make it through and get sent to the Senate from the House and from the Senate to the House, those will be the ones working on it. Right now, a lot of interest is going to the marriage bill, but as soon as that one breaks out, that hearing was this afternoon, they get a chance to listen to it, but we should know where that one stands, and then I think you're going to see some of the other ones start popping.
That's the last bill to be in Thursday, isn't it?
Thursday is when you've got to do your switchovers from one house to the Senate, to the House to the Senate, and then vice versa for certain bills. What you gotta watch is they tag stuff on. I've never seen, it's a interesting place, and it's interesting rules they come up with on their own sometimes, so.
Because there's going to be a council meeting Thursday. Right?
Yeah, what's it?
I just think it should be thought about, looked about before jumping into
I agree to disagree with you, but I think we should move and retain her.
Hey, it won't be the first time she
I know.
disagreed with me.
We'll go ahead and look into the lobbies, the new lobbies, and we'll look into what the conflict and stuff was. Jackie Stutz, Dearborn County Community Foundation yearly agreement.
Okay, we're gonna do the second one first. The phase one. There's only one for the foundation, and it's for the Aurora Police Department for $4,734. And it's 3-year for the Leeds Online Total Track Plus Metal Theft Investigation System Power Plus program, which will reduce the amount of time and resources used attempting to locate or recover stolen property and increase the number of cases solved related to property crimes. And they're asking for $47.37, and that's what the foundation has agreed to. So.
Motion to approve.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do that later. Okay, the next thing is the agreements that you were talking about, I think earlier, wanting to maybe make some suggestions or amendments or changes to, or did I get that all wrong? Our agreement with the foundation.
Yes, you're correct, Jackie.
What?
You're correct.
Okay. So do we want to, did they table, do you want to table that? Or do you want to?
Present together for
Yeah, and as I stated in the December meeting, I'm not sure which one, Mr. McCarter, did request that any council member that had any questions or anything about this, to call them. I do think the Tremaine scholarship portion is also in here.
Yeah. That's a separate agreement.
Right, so, and I know Mr. Cook has it on the agenda for Lawrenceburg High School scholarship for current students, and there was, I think, some interest that, we all wanted to do a separate part from the Tremaine scholarship, so it may be beneficial to table it and have them here, or have a work session, I think would probably be the best thing.
I agree. I can't find my papers.
So we want a work session with the foundation and council? Is that right? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Who's tied up this week?
Huh? That's this week. Oh, no, that's this week. I mean, that's this week. It's this week. We have one Monday next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know that we,
why don't I get a hold of Mr. McCarter, and
yeah.
I can get with you all, and then we can just call everybody and see what their availability might be. Is Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, or any days better for everybody? Or
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Any days that are better for?
Are we talking about the following next week?
Either that or the
Yeah, our regular
10th.
meetings on Monday.
And Wednesday is planning commission, like just said.
Oh, okay, so either Tuesday, the 4th, the 6th, the 11th, 12th, or 13th.
Well, redevelopment then would be that second Monday.
Right, that's the 10th.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm sorry.
The 11th, 12th, 13th of February, or the 4th or the 6th.
4? That good with everybody? What time?
I'll confirm that with them, a work session.
See what works with,
Yeah.
for him.
Because I don't know when they have their meetings or anything, so.
Jackie, when we have our loan committee meeting tomorrow, can you bring in a piece of paper with all these dates of all these meetings? Because I haven't been right. I know we meet Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
This week we meet Thursday too.
We meet Thursday too?
Yeah. It's on the drug and alcohol policy Thursday.
Wednesdays at 5 o'clock and Thursdays at 4:15.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right,
Can you do
so
that for me, please?
Yeah.
a work session 2/4/14, you want to say 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock. So are there, right?
Fine with me.
Mayor, why don't we just stop? I'll just tentatively, I'll check with them too, because they might not be available,
Okay.
so I'll double check with everyone, just make sure the 4th, the 6th, or the following week, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
So are we gonna table the agreements tonight till we can meet? Okay.
Did you get ordinance 1/2014?
No, we're not doing that. Because, no, scratch that.
Okay,
Go down there.
City website, I think.
Yeah, I've had a few people come up to me and ask if, when we're gonna update the city website, like everybody's pictures on there and get, events that's going on in Lawrenceburg. When people go to the website, they, there's nothing to click on with what's going on in the city.
Yes, Kelly's been working on, Kelly, you want to report on?
Sure.
Been updated on.
At this point, Kelly Will, Marketing Director. At this point, I've met with most of the department heads, gathering information for content for the site. Essentially, we will create a site using a .gov domain name. We'll also use .gov email addresses, but keep in mind the existing email addresses will still be fully functional. The site that we intend to create will be mobile-friendly, optimized for both smartphone and tablet use. It will also hopefully be built so it can be easily updated in-house. Either myself, possibly John Johnson, and some other staff members would be able to do the updates in-house. The site will also include an e-newsletter sign-up, social media integration. We hope to plug in a community calendar and then have the ability to pay the bills online for the utilities. So after sufficient data is collected from the respective departments, we will move forward with procuring an RFQ for the designer. I'm hoping that we can obtain all the information by the end of February to then move forward with creating the RFQ.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Lawrenceburg City Council coming.
Good job, Kelly.
I've got
a lot to do.
I've got a few more people to talk to. I'd like to make a motion to table this till our next council meeting.
For February 3rd?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Lawrence Clearinghouse.
I was contacted by a lady from the clearinghouse that had been before us before about a donation, and she called me checking if thought council would support that they got an offer to purchase a building, so they'd have their own building. I told her I'd bring it up before council. I did tell her my concern right off the bat was, how are they going to fund it for the future once they get the building? She says that they planned on getting donations and stuff from local businesses and stuff. I think we've heard tonight about donations being down. Told her I'd bring it to council. The owner of the building reduced it down, I guess, by $25,000 for them to $175,000. They're planning on getting $100,000 from the foundation and was wanting $75,000 from the council.
So this building now?
In Aurora. And I told her I would bring it before council and let them know. But I did share my concerns with her of the funding being down, and then how was they going to sustain it for the future.
Looks at this agenda, I think we're the only one who gives out any donations.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I'd love to help them, I personally help them, you know, do it.
You
but
said they were going to receive a grant from the Community Foundation for $100,000?
That's what they're planning on.
Is that the max?
I don't know.
I wonder why they can't apply for the full 175,000.
It only goes up to 100,000.
That's what I thought. I thought it was the max.
The, you know, big fears how they can make, you know, survive overhead taxes and stuff.
If it's a non-profit, they shouldn't have to pay property taxes.
That I don't know. No.
No,
Most
non-profits
nonprofits
don't have
don't.
to.
No.
But they'll
But
still pay
they'll still have to pay
utilities and upkeep
insurance.
and. I said I'd put it out there, kind of see what council felt about it. Told her she could call me tomorrow after the meeting and I'd let her know if council was interested in coming before council or not.
What's feeling everybody?
I think you're getting 100,000 from them.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
So it's
Well,
out of
from the
grant.
foundation.
But if it's out of grant program,
Yeah.
it's us.
I mean, that's not necessarily,
Do you want to go over it? Since there's the buildings in the war.
I didn't ask,
Oh,
but I
no.
didn't. But I didn't ask.
That's okay. Just wondered.
So, I mean, does the board kind of feel like they're getting 100,000 more or less from Lawrenceburg through the foundation? And we believe that's, you know,
I'd love
pretty
to be able
generous.
to help them, but like Grant said, we don't know what we're facing.
You know, that's my feeling. You know, if you could read the future for revenue, it'd be one thing, but I haven't figured out how to do that.
We keep giving money away like it's coming out the door, we're not gonna have any money. I mean, we're giving us money away for everything. Nobody goes anybody with us anymore.
I think we are thinking about passing an ordinance that we can't give any money away. If it doesn't go through the foundation, it doesn't happen.
That's how the foundation was set up. That's
I mean,
what,
it's-
I don't count, that's how we set it up.
It's just becoming,
And it works great, because they went to them all the time, they don't make your meetings go for 2 or 3 hours.
because when your funding keeps going down, I mean, if it's going, I guarantee it's going to get worse when Racino's open with slots. And we haven't seen the worst yet.
Our killer.
Because I think 80 or 85% of the casino's revenues is slots. And when they get them Racino's, we haven't seen the worst.
When we get it right across the river, I think that's gonna be killer for everybody.
I don't think, but I'm gonna ask anyway, would this qualify under the 10-county grant program?
Well,
Because it's not economic development.
How we would do it, if it's redevelopment, but, I've had discussions with a group last year, and, what we gotta be careful of is, are we putting them out on a limb and then sawing the limb off behind them? Because they're gonna end up with, even if they paid rent for, if you paid the rent for 3 years, you're not setting them up for failure and having an extra burden of that building, the maintenance on that. And I don't know the building that they're looking at, but if it's downtown, Lord, it's gonna have maintenance and it's got historical issues.
It's not downtown.
Okay.
But I did say I wouldn't say because they're concerned with the owner of the building.
Well, the way I understand it now, they set up their clearinghouses out of churches.
Most.
They still come to donations.
And the food drive, or the money that they received, or the food that they received last year dropped too. So that's why they came to us. So they have these big plans of owning their own building. Why can't they still function?
It's a tough deal.
The donated areas of the churches.
It's a big limit to go out on. I mean, they gotta maintain the building, they pay the lights, the heat, air conditioning, everything else. What do they plan to do all? It might be the death of them. I mean, that building might take them under. They do a great job, don't get me wrong, they do a great job. Up to council.
I've done some out there, as far as revenue and the upkeep, being able to,
You want to set them up for fail?
you know, you're gonna get that limb cut off, and ain't no sense going out on it. Unless it's got, I'd rather see in other, say, donating spots and over the time, money going to food and stuff.
Work this long. We're doing it.
That's pretty much council's.
So I'm gonna make a motion that on behalf of council feels that they may not be able to support the upkeep and overhead of their own facility. And at this time, we're not interested in looking at donating $75,000 towards the purchase of their own building.
Motion your second.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mario?
Well, before you finish the motion, I mean, you really kind of need a plan, their plan in front of you. At least you would know what direction they're going for.
Well, I guess I'll add something to it.
Well, can't we just let it die?
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, it's up to you.
They can bring it back.
Yeah, they can bring it back, they can come.
What do we want to make a motion and say, unless they put a plan together that can show that they can support for the future their overhead costs of their own facility, then we can, a 5-year plan, and we can look at it and make it a consideration.
Put that in motion.
That was it. That was the motion.
Got it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Roll call, please.
Wait a minute, who did the second?
Aaron?
Okay, sorry. Wait a minute. Okay, Jane,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Bill, Mike,
Yes.
and JR. Okay, that's 4 yeses.
Mike, conflict of interest.
I just wanted to submit my conflict of interest.
I didn't prepare the rest of the board that we did.
Submit that back here.
No, I will. It's a minute. I don't need your signature. No, I need mine. I will. You want a copy then?
Actually, I think I got one if you
Okay.
can sign my.
Yeah, no problem. And then I'll send this into the state and the county and whoever needs it.
Actually, you might, because I printed this one front and back, I don't know if you want to do that.
Oh, it doesn't really matter.
Which one is it?
I have no, most of them are. Yeah, I will, I'll make copies of this one. Yeah.
Good, Mike.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tony Provost, he's not here, right?
No.
Scratch that.
Are you filling in?
You filling that for him?
No.
Got big shoes?
No, I'm not sure exactly what he had. Great that he talked about. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All business, Aaron Cook, Fall Fest.
I just have a few statements or questions, because I know that you were talking about changing over the Fall Fest and the city running it. I'm not sure about the legality of that yet, but a few questions I had is, the insurance lady got a hold of me and said that $942.50 is due for the directors and officers liability annual membership. I don't know if you guys are keeping track of that stuff. And then Danny Davis, I guess, told the adult center yesterday or today, because Marie called me and said he needs his deposit because he's got a contract based on appropriations. So he's want his deposit. I think it's due by February something.
Contact Andy tomorrow.
The hospital's contacting me about, is the 5K still on? I'm not sure how they're gonna run it, if that's what it leads up to, so. There's
Just like the board, I'm sure it's stable.
So, I mean, are you guys contacting any of these people, or?
We'll contact Andy tomorrow. I've asked for the stuff to come a week, he hasn't sent anything.
This was only the Danny Davis came from Marie, the other,
Sent anything, and we've asked 2 months ago.
because the Loretta Day contacted me myself, and then, the hospital contacted me too.
Okay. Well, with Mr. Davis, I mean, I have his contact information, I have no problem, I can definitely get with him.
Aaron, excuse me, what was the insurance money that was due?
Directors and officers liability, I don't know if there's a contract with them, I don't know how it works, but.
That's year-to-year deal, that's the city, you know.
Okay, thanks, Aaron.
She was saying that the city always required the directors and officers to have liability, that, so the people that didn't work for this, I guess the city people are covered under city insurance, but the people that aren't employed by the city need a different kind of insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to look at that.
Is that something you can give to Jack?
Yes.
No, I just wanted to know what it was
Well,
about,
I mean, it has
whatever.
contact
I don't need it.
Okay.
You printed it out already?
Is there an ordinance about Fall Fest or just that one-page resolution that was received before?
It's the resolution.
That's the only one as far as I know.
That's the only thing we could find, and we did have Ann look for.
Yeah, we had the girls check any number of ways, yeah.
So under the resolution, the Fall Fest Committee was created by City Council. So
Correct.
why isn't City Council still the creator of Fall Fest, and why have I been removed off of that committee after I've been on it from day one?
There'll be subcommittees, Jane.
And there's several people that, they're volunteers, have been removed.
They haven't been removed, I'll meet with the meeting, and see where they want to go, what direction they want to go.
But you just, the resolution, City Council created Fall Fest. City Council is still over Fall Fest appointments.
The mayor is. Under that ordinance 3038B, the mayor shall appoint the members of all select committees which may be created by common council from time to time.
Which we did create, Fall Fest, Common Council did.
Under Tremaine, yes.
Yes, so a City Council should be over Fall Fest.
The mayor shall appoint the members of all select committees which may be created by common council from time to time.
Which may be created by Common Council, which we did under a resolution.
But it still says the mayor shall appoint the members of the committee, all select committees. It's not the standing committees, but under that 3038B, and he is also under 3038F, the mayor shall fill any vacancy on said committees. The chairperson of that committee, of any of your select committees, is chosen by the committee members.
Well, who is the chair?
We have a meeting for the chair.
Right now, it is.
In the past, the mayor has been co-chair.
That's the resolution you was reading off of?
That's our ordinance, which I was reading.
You have the resolution?
Does that say that the mayor appoints all committees?
Of all select committees, which are the ones that council, and select committees can die. I mean, you could have a special committee for.
What ordinance is that?
That is 3038, 30.38.
It's in your ordinance book, Jane.
B and 5, B and F. It's under just committees.
But it's in the ordinance book, it's not a piece of paper, I mean, there's a
Right.
piece of paper somewhere, but.
Do you know the resolution number?
18/2002.
What was it?
That's, I don't know which one, because
That's what he said, she said.
one copy says 16 and one says 18, been changed, so I'm not sure which one it is.
All I have is
Which one's
18.
legit?
That's why we got an initial at the bottom of them.
I've got these both from the city, so I'm not sure who changed it, and a 3-month difference.
Yeah, I did have 16 as well, 16 and 18.
See, this is the first one I got, Leslie, when I requested for I wanted the drama involved with, and then I got this one about a month later, it's changed to 16. So something strange is going on.
And this actually says it was an ordinance. No, ordained and passed.
It's a resolution.
Resolution. Okay, I got a couple questions.
That is something for council attorney to think about.
Yeah.
What could happen with that, Leslie? First one I got before anybody started talking about changing over Fall Fest, I got this one, number 18.
I don't know where
When
there's
stuff started
two.
happening a month later, when everybody started talking about it, I got this one with 18 crossed out and changed to 16.
I don't know, I'm not sure. That would probably have been,
I'd have to look. A lot of times what happens is the number that you give an ordinance or a resolution, and by the time the resolution or ordinance passes, you've already used another number or two, so you have to change the number, which could have been that, I don't know, I'd have to go
that
look.
probably would have been great. I mean, Jackie wouldn't have had it.
Yeah, but this is,
But it could have been with anybody.
this is like 11 years went by, and this is the ordinance that's always been used, and then when people start questioning it, a month later, I get another one crossed out, and it's this one.
What year is that
The
on?
first one I got from Jackie, the second one I got up here somewhere.
What?
Resolution number.
Okay,
16, 2002, or 18.
okay, I'll check that.
I have copies of both of them too.
Okay.
Sounds like a conspiracy.
There should really only be.
There's a lot of them around Lawrenceburg.
Even if the numbers change, there should still only be one. It should be the same ordinance or resolution.
It's the same thing, just like I said, that,
Oh, the numbers, okay.
yeah, someone crossed it out in
Okay.
that time period and changed it.
Yeah, especially with race.
Let's see, I got a question. Did you enter into a contract with Paul Murray and what's Davis's first name? Danny Davis in 2013 for 2014 before we budgeted the money for Fall Fest?
I reviewed contracts. That's the only thing I did.
Did you enter in, are we in contract with Paul Murray? And did we enter into that contract in 2013 for 2014?
The Fall Fest committee.
No, the Fall Fest Committee did not, because we're not allowed to enter into a contract until we appropriate the money.
As
So
far as,
if we've got contracts right now,
There was money appropriated for Fall Fest.
He was told that it has to be appropriation every year.
Does it say it in the
It
contract?
does say subject to
It said-
appropriation.
I guess his contract is good through 2015 based on appropriations.
Subject to appropriations. We made sure there was subject to appropriations for that.
so we've got contracts with Danny Davis
And Paul Murray,
through 2015.
Murray Brothers. I think it's
I think
Subject to appropriations.
subject to appropriations. But I don't have a final copy of them. Ms. Edwards has all of those, and we've not received copies of them.
I tried to get a copy of the Danny Davis contract today, and she told me she don't have a copy of it. So she said, you have it.
You have the
I don't have any,
contract.
I don't have any of the executed contracts. What I did back in March of last year, March and April is when I looked at all of these contracts. I know in September she was saying I still didn't look at, I looked at all of those contracts, you can look at my bills, March and April, and gave them to her, made any comments that I wanted, that I thought we should change, especially the writers on all the music acts. But as far as obtaining the signatures, I know Mr. Murray did come into the city building, I think he does sign it here, but as far as all the executed contracts, that goes on to Murray.
So it was all passed in public meeting.
As far as the Fall Fest committee.
So there's minutes, correct?
I don't know if
So-
they take minutes of the Fall Fest committee.
Don't know.
Yeah, they do. They take minutes on that.
So all we need is the minutes.
Yeah.
Approving the
Contracts,
contract.
contracts are not passed through Fall Fest Committee. Contracts are passed through.
That's the money, just like you give Pat, she does contract with her too. The committee does.
Right, but just what I'm saying is Mayor Carr and our attorney does the contracts.
No. She did the contract.
I did do the Paul Murray and the Danny Davis contracts because they weren't contracts, they were just kind of a list of terms. I did prepare those, you're right. And I gave them to Marie to begin with.
Marie, you're right, Marie usually does them, then she passes them through Mr. Votel, now she's passing them through you.
Yes. But I did prepare those after a meeting we had with Marie and Murray's, was the result of that meeting. I think Mr. Mills was there, Vince, Mr. Carr, Marie.
Did you approve any contracts on your executive committee?
No, I think Paul Murray talked about when I was in there, but I don't think he approved of there.
So who actually approves these contracts? The mayor?
Well, she did negotiations with them.
I think the executive director.
Executive director.
For the Fall Fest.
And I actually changed it because I wasn't sure how much weight her, as an executive director of the Fall Fest, which, I questioned her signing, because for years, she's always signed all the contracts. That was one of the questions I had this year, whether it would be binding on their side, you know what I mean, against the city of Lawrenceburg, if Marie were the one to sign it.
So you signed them this year?
Yes.
I think we could,
They tell me how to go ahead and do it. She usually asks, any minutes, I've never seen minutes anyway.
They do minutes.
Yeah, they do. That's who sits next to Marie. If Marie's right here, and over there on the left is taking the minutes.
Well, you wasn't there to a lot of the meetings.
The executive meeting, board meetings out there.
Oh, okay.
Not the regular meetings. That's who decided to do things.
I know a lot of the public are upset about the changes in Fall Fest.
I heard a bunch of positive, but a whole lot of positive.
So from now on, since I'm not on the Fall Fest committee, 'cause I got the letter in the mail, just when people call me about the bills, just ignore it.
I'm not saying not, I want to see what the board's gonna do.
I got the list right here.
Yeah, that's the board, it can't be added to, it can't be subcommittee too, that we're talking. I want to see what the board wants to do.
So the top 15 people, I'm not on there, so I guess I don't need to be on there, and I won't convey any messages to the current board either.
Send to the board.
If it takes effect.
Send to the board.
Is what you basically did, you took a committee out of citizens' hands that was based upon mostly volunteers.
No, it's in citizens.
And now, no, it's not in citizens' hands. Everybody that's on that committee is in the administration of the city of Lawrenceburg or an elected official.
You don't think these people aren't citizens?
Yes, they're citizens, but I'm talking about, we're the administration. We serve the citizens.
And you give this money to a committee to run it just like you do everybody else.
Out of the top people on here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8 of them are paid city employees. So two of them are volunteers, and 8 are getting paid for it.
We're those volunteers. We're not cutting any volunteers out for the board, see what the board wants to do with it.
And on one of our volunteers are.
We're tightening money out there.
I have a legal question. Can the council vote to repeal the appropriations for Fall Fest?
Of course.
And there's no veto power on that, correct?
As far as a repeal of appropriations, it would be a repeal of your budget ordinance. So I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think so. I'm just curious.
I mean, it is an ordinance, and that's where its power veto is.
It's crazy. It's crazy to have control over everything.
It's not control, the board's gonna run it.
I mean, all of a sudden, it's been the same people for years, then all of a sudden,
they're not completely gone.
I want to put this on the record. This was done for one reason and one reason only, vindictiveness.
You're wrong. The lady quit.
She did not quit.
You wasn't there, Jenny.
Resignation's only good in writing, I proved that in a meeting.
And actually, Mike, that is incorrect.
Okay.
That is incorrect.
Think about that.
Whenever any officer shall
Council
submit
attorney.
in writing his or her resignation, it says that the person so submitting such written resignation shall have no right to withdraw, rescind, annul, or amend such resignation. Doesn't say anything about an oral resignation. And I don't even think that it would apply to her because she's not an officer, serving an employee of a board, bureau, commission, department, division, instrumentality, or agency of the city.
Drug policy ordinance status.
As we said, Jenny's going to talk about it.
Yeah, Ms. Jenny Felix is here to address the request of council to have drug testing, I guess, for council, well, for elected officials. Just generally, before she gets up here, I did talk with Mr. Lawrence about this issue, and I did send an email to you on November 6th.
And I couldn't open mine, so I don't even have the drug policy. I couldn't open it, I didn't have a chance to email you back.
Okay, well, we didn't have, there is no change to the last one that was distributed. And we are having a meeting with the employees on Thursday, so, and it is a work session, so I think y'all can vote on it. Jenny, I'll let you go on and tell what the testing facility told you.
Okay. And this is just in regards to elected officials being drug tested. I did speak with Indiana Testing, who's our vendor for our random drug testing and new hires and things like that. And what they informed me about elected officials is there was actually a Supreme Court ruling that ruled it unconstitutional to require an elected official to be tested. And what they actually said, it imposed a reasonable search without circumstances being present. I mean, it is something that elected officials can volunteer to do if they want to. I mean, there's nothing saying that they can't volunteer it, but we can't enforce it as far as requiring anybody to do it.
Is that if you're elected or to run for office? If you are elected?
Either one. That's for a requirement to run and be granted the elected official position, and also if you're an elected official already.
Man, tells me more about our politicians. Because I sure think we should be tested.
I do think in my research on that case, there wasn't anything in Indiana on point, meaning there wasn't an Indiana case that said anything, the same things the Supreme Court said about this Georgia. It was in Georgia that this law was enacted. So, I mean, I do think, as she stated, that we could include some type of volunteer provision in the ordinance if you wanted to. I don't know that we even have to put it into an ordinance if they wanted to volunteer. Our other issue is, I guess what we would do with it once we had it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the results would come back to me, and, I would have to keep that information confidential. So the thing we were thinking about is what's the repercussion for this? And really, there isn't any. I would just contact that elected official and just seek if they need any assistance in finding treatment for their drug or alcohol problem.
I think
so you're not
that is if, because we have this union contract in the employee state, they'll take the drug test as part of and test negative as part of their employment contract. But I think the contract employees are also, I don't know, we're going to look at those certain sections in that salary ordinance as far as, but I do believe that would also apply to your contract employees, but it's in a consideration for their work. They're going to stay drug-free because they want to keep the job.
Well, aren't the rest of the contract employees union members too now?
I would say Mario and Mr. Clark are.
So is Carl.
And Carl.
Yeah.
So Mr. Hughes, Miss Wills, and Miss Felix are the only. Mr. Davis. Sorry.
So they're not subject to drug testing?
No, they are currently, yeah. All employees are.
We had to make that applicable in our salary ordinance because obviously clothing allowance is not going to be something that necessarily, Jenny might need, what I'm saying? So we picked up the provisions, and that's what's in the salary ordinance last last year and this year, that would be applicable. But we are meeting with, to get the employees' input. I think Mr. Polcraft arranged that because he wanted to see if there was anything, you know, the ones that are being subject to this had any comments, so.
I heard that was scheduled for 1:30 at one time.
It's always been 4:15, yeah.
15.
That's the 30th, right? Mayor, just that all the departments know and are encouraging them to come or requiring them to
They
come.
worked out the time spots for that one to do it.
They were in-
You want to stay away, Russ, they should do it.
Are you gonna pay them for their time if you require?
4:15.
Yeah, they were invited to attend, yeah. It's not a requirement that they attend, but they're invited
If it was
to.
a requirement, I wouldn't mind paying them. More here, the merrier.
Yeah.
But it was by invitation, so.
You want to put that in the motion, Jane?
We would get a lot of people that way, that's for sure.
It sounds like you already got set up.
But I just wanted to give you guys just the information, just something to ponder on about the elected officials as far as we can't require it. It's just something that we can do voluntarily, and it's like Leslie said, I don't even know if it's something we need to put in the ordinance or if folks just want to volunteer to do it, or...
Put a suggestion in there. I have been working on some language, but for some reason, like a writer's block today, and I could not think of how I wanted to put it in there, but I will have a sample, some sample wording for that, if you guys are interested for Thursday.
I have one last question, I think. Just, can you, in the ordinance, request elected officials to voluntarily random drug testing and the results be public?
No, Mike, you can't do that. I'd be violating HIPAA.
Well, another city that's been having discussions, so I'm trying to get the,
Well, legally, I don't think you can do that. You can't do that to any.
well, we're elected officials, public officers.
Still have property, what it's trying to buy.
Well, it's illegal. You're doing it. It's illegal.
You got to prove it, it's working.
I'll go whenever.
I go all the time, too.
I never ask my employees to do anything that I wouldn't. I just,
But you're not asking your employees to put their thing out there medical.
they're not elected though. I'm elected, I don't care. But I mean, even if it's not.
Disagree, don't we?
Yeah, all the time.
I think to the first part of the question, as far as voluntarily, asking them to voluntarily submit to one, I think you can ask them to voluntarily submit to one. But as far as making it public, that would have to be their choice.
What can you
Yeah.
get where,
It would have to be coming directly from that person.
like voluntarily, that they can sign that they're willing to do random drug testing? Because if somebody just says, and I mean, this could be administration way down the road,
Right.
says, well, I'll clean up here for a couple weeks, and whatever.
That was part of
couple
what
months,
the Supreme
and
Court
I'll go.
says. I mean, even with the Georgia law, they said they could go to their own doctor and get one. So, and they still found it unconstitutional. Because, I mean, because I was thinking, well, hell, you know, if I really was a user and I wanted to run, I mean, I could just clean up, go to my doctor, get a, you know, pass drug screen and be good, but.
There's hidden talents out there that already do anyway.
I mean, I just like showing the employees that, hey, we're no different than they are.
Yeah.
We have to submit to the same thing they do. That's,
Well, and you can do that by volunteering to do it, but I mean, as far as the results, I mean, they would have to come directly out of you, because they wouldn't come from me, that's for sure. And just remember, if you decide that you want to volunteer, you'll be subject to getting a call from me at any time of the day to say, guess what, we need you over here in 10 minutes.
Now, me,
10 minutes might be a problem. Give me an hour or something.
I guess we're going to discuss it, but there is one point I'd like to bring up, that if your name's called and you're not working, when you come in the next day or whenever you come back, you still need to be drug tested.
Okay.
And if your name's called and you're a second or a third shift employee, they need to do it when they come in on that second or third shift.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can put in there now, because it's only in there for the CDL drivers, because DOT requires that, but for non-CDLs, if they're off that day, then we don't have a requirement to, it's not in the ordinance right now to do that or in the policy. So that's definitely something we can look at.
Do it here, they have to do it possible.
No, we do it right here. They come on site.
Who watches?
Well, I supervise not the actual testing, but I supervise the overall thing, and then there's a tester that comes. yeah, exactly. And then there's a trained tester that comes out and manages them. No, they're not viewed.
They tape the knobs in the back and stuff, so it's been done.
Well, I mean, if you look at probation.
So you need a pack.
You can watch them. You can watch them because it's done another,
It's in the law enforcement. In law enforcement it is, in probation.
I think the Dearborn County Hospital watches them.
No, they don't, because I've been up there with people, and they send you into the restroom with the cup and whatever, and wait for you to come out.
Believe me, they don't.
Legally have them watched.
I'd have to check and see as far as the different kind of positions that we have. I mean, it might be a requirement for certain positions or certain circumstances, but I can check it out.
But as far as her second and third shift, well, I'll get with her before Thursday to see where it fit in there. As far as.
Yeah, because that does happen.
They can go straight to DCH.
When they come on shift.
Just make it simple, just have your blood test.
That's some serious stuff right there.
Bill,
Yeah.
that's a very good idea.
Don't have to watch it.
That is very good.
That's true. We have to look into the cost for that one, though.
Yeah.
What about the hair sample?
Well, they just don't pull a hair out of your head, I understand. They have to take a whole section. I don't know, that's.
They do say it's the most accurate.
I don't know. I was just told. They have to take the whole section. I don't know.
And I've never had one I don't know either.
Doesn't take from here, because it's working back.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks.
This was on there from a few weeks ago, and in my packet, I've got a 2014 comprehensive marketing plan that answered all my questions on that.
Okay. By the way, Mark, you're doing a fine job.
Thank you, Your
We have a lot of
Honor.
contacts for the event center down here.
I heard, and I hope I've heard wrong, because you can never find truth from the streets, that I heard there's only been 4 events booked for 214.
I got the numbers from Hollywood yesterday.
There are 9 confirmed events for 2013. 2014. There's 30 tentative, and 6 of which of those events which fall under either category are 2-day events. And keep in mind from your cover letter that I included in your packet that as I move forward with Hollywood, I will be able to gain a little bit more of this intelligence to be able to share it with all of you. So they've had a little bit of turnover in their marketing and sales position over there, so I will have better answers for you on these types of questions moving forward. But yes, that's kind of where they are on the sales for 2014.
When the first event is?
Well, the first event was scheduled for the end of May, and the second event sometime in early June. However, in a meeting that I had with Hollywood on Friday, I was told that that those may need to be canceled depending on the opening date of the event center. It's been pushed back a little bit due to the Hilton Doubletree agreement as well as some weather-related issues.
I talked to Hollywood today, the assistant to the man that operates it, and he or she told me that they was informed that the event center would not be turned over to them until July the 1st.
And that's what I learned today. When I had the meeting on Friday, I was told that those events may or may not be able to happen, but they hadn't formally canceled them today. However, I learned today from Tim Jensen that they were informed on Friday, I think late on Friday or something, that indeed they may have to go ahead and cancel them because it wouldn't be open until the end of the beginning of July. So you are correct based on the information that I received from Tim today. So I'm not sure what will happen with those two events.
How many of the 9 were booked before July 1st?
Just the two. One the end of May and one early June.
Well, that's called the hotel one, isn't it?
Correct, and I think with regard, yes, the hotel won't be open, but I think because it's under one permit, that if the hotel's not ready, the event center is not ready either because it shares the same HVAC. Okay.
That's going to be up to the state and Carl will allow us to do, so we're checking into it, see if we can.
Because I mean, if it is, I mean, I don't know what the events are, but obviously if they didn't need the hotel,
Then maybe
they just need the.
Hollywood's hotel.
Right, the life safety, it's the passageways.
Anything further?
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I might add too, Jenny Phillips, our HR director, has done a fine job since taking this over. I mean, we come light years away from what we used to be. Lawrenceburg High School scholarship fund student.
As Leslie mentioned earlier, we can discuss that with Fred Harder on February 4th.
Okay.
Well, technically.
Yeah. Yep.
Any comments for the audience? Hearing none, review and discuss claims, board approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion adjourned. Second. All in favor?